Well, happy Sunday, everybody. We are back. And with this menagerie of creative players, I couldn't help but ask them if they'd be willing to share this game. And we started how long ago now? Gelmir, how long ago you think?
Oh, I don't know, like 6-7 years ago.
So today, you know what, you asshole. So today is session
6-7 months, maybe. Yeah.
We're actually on session 19, right? So when I put this game together, I've always wanted to build an Undermountain / Mad Mage game because I like anything that takes place in Forgotten Realms, and I especially like it like there's not a lot of traditional dungeon crawls anymore. You know, that's like and sometimes dungeon crawls are hard to put into a campaign. So I really, put this one together because I really wanted to push myself and challenge myself to develop a campaign in a very traditional dungeon crawl space. And what's really fun is we're on session 19, right? So that's at least 4 months that we've been.
We started in July.
Yeah, right.
Near the end of July.
Yeah, end
so
of
yeah,
July.
I was gonna say
So
6
August,
months, 6-7
September,
months.
October, November, December.
Because I think I jumped in like episode 5, like
Yeah.
session 5, right around there.
Yeah, because I think Gelmir and Tyr were our 2 newest ads, right? Because for the most part, it had been Wintrude, Alexander, and Rahi, right? Or Rahi, did you come in later, or were you part of the original core that came in?
Part of the original.
That's what I thought. Yeah.
Yeah, he's always.
And what a fucking weird build. So we're going to take a few minutes today to talk about this kooky group. And I'm telling you, man, this is the only I run 8 pay-to-play campaigns and I run 2 private campaigns. And I'm getting ready to start up a third two public campaigns that are in my actual studio. I'm getting ready to start another one, a studio campaign, because I got to justify the remodel of the new 300 square foot studio that we're building, which I just got my lighting budget for the new studio. It's $1,200 for the lighting. So it's, yeah. Luckily, I've got a really good friend of mine named Cesare who runs EMP Studios. And he's got an amazing, that's his profession, is doing video. And he even does he'll send up his drone to do videos of people's commercial land or property and then turn it into promotion and advertising. So he's an artist when it comes to that stuff. I'm not. And then my partner's over at RPG&Co. He did all my updated artwork for the overlays and everything. And we use StreamYard, right? And for us with this group, the reason why I fell in love with this game that we've started is even though we had a couple people drop out near the beginning, which is completely typical, right? It happens. The transitioning over to discovering Gelmir's character and then the eventual discovery of Tyr's character in the idea of a dungeon crawl was pretty fucking cool. I really like having that. But it's the comedic RP that this group has brought to this table that has just been... This is my first time I've run a game, this kind of campaign, where I've actually fallen more in love with your guys' comedic RP style versus the idea of just sticking to a traditional dungeon crawl, perspective or something like that. And I just had to share this one with everyone. So as long as everyone's okay with it from this point on, we're just going to be sharing this game. And I can assure everyone out there, this shit ain't scripted. What you're going to hear these guys do today, there's no script here, right? So I will in the future, probably in the next couple of weeks, I'm going to build a summary intro for getting everyone caught up. We're on session 19 today, but this is officially episode 1. And can anyone guess why I named it the way I named it? Can you see the title up there in the studio?
No, I don't even
The
know.
Undermountain episode with Gelmir's Choice.
So really quick, before I do the recap, I got to introduce these guys. Chris, start off with Wintrude. Talk about your play and talk about Wintrude, and then we'll go down the line. We'll do the recap, and we'll get started. We are going to run 15 minutes over today. So we normally go 3 hours. So hopefully everyone can stay a few minutes over because I want to make sure we run our 3 hours today.
Wintrude is a halfling rogue and now has just dipped into being a warlock. And she works for Candlekeep. She normally does investigations, missing tomes, collections, looking for stuff that's rare, stolen, and researching her own work. she kind of runs the show when back to where it should be going, but she's trying to. There's some areas where she's loosening up a lot more, and then there's some areas where she still dutifully follows Dirk's Daring Adventure Guide and Dungeon Delving.
Well, and with that, the core of the idea of this campaign, the core of its backstory was based on the idea. I love it when I get spam bots. It's so much fun. What they don't understand is StreamYard has made life very easy. So the core of this campaign was Wintrude discovered Blackcloak's history in Candlekeep, and then called on some people that he's used in the past as part of his investigative approach of ancient lore or ancient, history related to anything local to the
she's kind of like it's kind of like the hired muscle sort of thing. She's worked the idea being she's worked with these folks in the past, not Gelmir obviously, but
Gelmir was an accidental discovery. Gelmir, introduce your character really quick, would you?
Yeah, he's all right. So Gelmir is a goblin. He's a ranger. So he's used to being a lone wolf other than his little Drake Gribbets. He came down to the Underdark to try and rid the city of evil, the Undercity, because he is a vigilante of sorts. So he tries to do well. The problem is that he gives into his goblin instincts far more than he should. So he is easily distracted by shiny objects. He's easily overconfident and not fully used to working on a team. So he also is easily ready to get rid of people if he feels like they're dead or gone. So he's an interesting character.
In so much trouble. So much trouble.
I love that. Tyr. And Tyr's. So, Calais, your bard has kind of grown on me a lot because it's kind of like a ukulele rock star to a certain extent, And by the way, two of these individuals, between Chris and Calais, I don't know if I'm not sure about Zach, Zachary, and Mike, but I got musicians here, folks. I got people that every now and then I'll notice that Tyr gets, is passively playing his downtime music while the team is resting. But Calais, this is new to you, right? This is your first time playing in a serious campaign. Talk to us about Tyr.
Yeah, it's my first time playing any stuff. I think originally I wanted to be a rogue, but there was already a rogue. So I'm a bard.
Is there really a rogue though? Are they really a rogue?
Roguish characters.
The most cautious rogue ever.
But yeah, Tyr is a half-elf bard. From the backstory aspect, former circus performer. The twist, I guess, probably typical. I don't know. It's my first time. Was kidnapped by a cult or sold to a cult that tried to use him as a vessel for a demon they worship. So there's a two-part personality going on. And I think as it's developed, the further we've delved into the Undermountain, the more like demonic Tyr becomes, the more bloodthirsty. But otherwise, critical thinker.
Otherwise, he's a good guy.
Otherwise, good guy, critical thinker. Loves to swim in the blood of his enemies.
Oh my God, it's been so much fun watching you learn and kind of mature through this campaign too. It's just watching the personalities come forth. It's just been amazing. Alexander, what do you? I kind of feel like Alexander owes a lot of their awareness to Gelmir's naivete.
Yeah. There's a lot of fun banter going on between that.
Yeah.
So I think the best way to sort of describe my character is sort of his relationship with the other characters. And since Tyr just went, I would say out of all of the characters, Tyr and Alexander probably agrees with Tyr the most on things. Whereas with the other three, tends to try to disagree as much as possible. The most sort of radical disagreements come between him and Wintrude, because Wintrude is more of the practical, pragmatic, studious type, where Alexander kind of goes out on a limb to sort of make what can be seemingly be these random decisions, but where he kind of looks at it like, oh no, this is the best foot forward. Why are we, wasting time? Almost like an on the spectrum kind of character that Alexander sort of plays. With Gelmir,
a warlock, a chaos warlock, almost.
A chaos warlock, with Gelmir was one of the goblins that was captured when we were starting the campaign, because he did come late. And what was really cool about the way that it was integrated is when Zach decided to join the campaign, we had a goblin that we were like guiding us through this thing. We had captured it was something like 6 goblins or 5 goblins, and we had let the other the other ones go, and then we had Gribbets, and Gribbets was following along, and I was just doing whatever I could to keep this goblin alive. And I'm like, dude, the DM's gonna have a hard time, because I am not letting this one die, not letting this one go. I'm gonna have him have to act out this NPC the whole way through. But then we had a player drop, and Zach joined, and Zach decided to embody that goblin. And it's really
and not
cool.
only embody that goblin, but name their familiar Gribbets as an homage to the goblin that he was embodying.
Oh yeah, I didn't even think
Gelmirs.
about that. But yeah.
Well, the funny part is that, because it's never come up, Gelmir took the name of Gribbets in my mind, because he was put on the spot to ask his name, and the only other name he could come up with was his familiar. So that's why he went as Gribbets.
Right.
Yeah.
So it was like this start of deceiving all of the party, but then coming to terms with, you can trust me, this, that, and the other. And it's really interesting, playing with a goblin, but he does, have a lot of those traits where you'll see as you're watching this campaign, getting, sort of greedy for gems. And as we start off on this campaign, Alexander kind of plays with that, as he stole a dragon scale out of Gelmir's bag that we all went to hide in, and used it to sort of kind of antagonize Gelmir to attack. And he ended up attacking a drow that was coming to help us. With Rahi, it is very interesting, because at first, when Alexander was kind of going off on his own way and kind of like, I'm going to leave the group, and I don't care if I'm with the party, because he didn't come into this being sort of like, I need to rely on other people kind of guy. He's kind of came into this like, I need to sort of choose my own path, and sometimes the path of your fellow teammates might get you killed, so you might as well choose whatever you want to do. And there was a position really early in the campaign where Rahi had literally picked up Alexander, put him over his shoulder. We did the dice rolls for it and everything, and carried him out of the stairs that he wanted to go down. And Alexander originally just absolutely hated him. He was like, "Oh my god, I'm going to like." There was these conflicts, but then there was another situation in that later room coming forward where everyone ran. Alexander went down, or it was poisoned and was about to die. I think we got laid on a table, and everybody ran except for Rahi. Rahi was the only one that effectively had his brother's back, and so Alexander goes from a whole switch. Yes. So Alexander goes from a whole switch perspective of like, wait, this person has my back. I didn't even realize any of these people had my back. And here everybody else runs away. And so now Alexander has kind of switched from like sort of this neutral to biased sort of view of everybody to like, these people ran away, but Rahi, she stuck with us. So
that's a good
that's
transition.
how I wanted to introduce.
Let's talk about Rahi's character, because this is probably one of the most unique builds I've seen in a long time. Zachary, talk about Rahi.
Right. So Rahi is a human fighter, and I know how that sounds. But she that's pretty much the only way that the character could really work. Rahi is like a late 80s old woman, nearing the end of her life, and she simply can't accept that. So what she's been trying to do for the latter half of her life is find a way to just stay alive in the face of her own humanity. She couldn't cut it as a wizard. She couldn't cut it as like an immortal priest. She wasn't willing to try and make a pact with something from the beyond, which is a bit ironic given her current situation. So now she's this old woman hopped up on like strange alchemy, which has succeeded in preventing her body from breaking down, but this, as a result, she looks like an old lady stretched over the skeleton of like an orc, pretty much.
So to be clear, you've built an 80-year-old failed human fighter who figured out how to build alchemy to keep themselves alive, and she's just trudging through life as almost like a brawler, trying to figure out how to undo all of her own mistakes that she has assumed are mistakes for the most part, right?
They are. She doesn't really. They're side effects. They're like consequences.
Wait. That's a unique way of describing bad choices, but okay. They're side effects of choices.
It's like those drug commercials where the side effects part goes on for 12 minutes.
Regrettable side effects, but better than the alternative, which is to say, being dead. So
true. Oh my goodness. So yeah, that's this wacky group. So let's go ahead and recap our last session, which was a couple weeks ago because we were off for break. The studio was closed. We were on Christmas. We were on New Year's break. And so it's been a bit of a break. We'll go back a couple sessions and get recapped. My fun story yesterday was 4 hours repairing a computer that for some reason these liquid cool systems just keep breaking down. And I think I might have finally figured out what's causing that to happen, but I'll address it later on when I get my new power supply. I think my voltage rating on my power supply is not quite reliable enough, and it's causing voltage spikes, and anything that is heavily reliant on my power supply might be getting burnt out. So the little pump motor in these liquid cool systems that they have for PCs now, I think keeps getting burnt out after a year. I'm already on my third one in a year and a half, so I got to get that dealt with. But yeah, 4 hours yesterday getting that fixed, and that was a lot of fun. But so this group has been in the Undermountain now, I think up to 6 days. We're on our 6th day of travel, I believe.
Depends on who you ask. Yeah, I'm pretty sure it's been like
5 or 6, Wintrude.
I have 7. I have day 7.
Are we really on 7? Wow.
Yeah, after we had left from White Moon.
Oh, that's right. We left the White Moon Village.
Yeah.
That's right.
I mean, it's been no less than like 17 months.
Well, from Gelmirs' ability to track time. So the team had managed to not only secure some ancient lore relics for White Moon and those that needed it for other purposes, but it gained them the ability to access a drow guide and find their way down through the next 2 levels of the Undermountain in hopes of finally finding the access to Skullport. With a map of Skullport in hand, some general information and knowledge about the undead warrens as well as the construct warrens, the team descended with their drow guide. For the most part, the journey went pretty smoothly. However, at one point, the team had passed by another entry point into what looked like another tomb. And I believe this tomb was Theo's tomb, one of the 7, as we've already discovered 2 of the previous 7 near the upper echelons of the Undermountain. The team, however, continued towards the Grand Chasm. Here, the chasm was supposed to offer a bridge across over to the other tunnel, but either through natural occurrences or unnatural, depending on your perspective. The archway bridge had collapsed, and the huge chasm in between both tunnel entrances was now inaccessible. Unfortunately, as the drow was scouting away across, a hidden entity up in the shadows of the chasm struck at them, knocking them off the walls and down into the chasm depths. The team, through Gelmirs' narration of, "Oh well, better go get another guide," decided to go back and check in on the tomb passageway that they had passed previously. Going back, they solved the riddle. The puzzle gained access into Theo's tomb, found his mummified remains, and while they also found certain items of magic and interest, it was Rahi's interaction with the Staff of the Dead that seemed to offer up the most interesting outcome, as the Staff of the Dead may have possible sentient or other effects associated to it. However, unbeknownst to them, their activity had attracted some arachnid-like creatures that they had to destroy before they could move on. They managed to. They moved back to the chasm for the greater part of a good deal of time, orchestrated this amazing plan, and as they executed the plan, they realized that Gelmir could just simply float back and forth and do all the work for everybody. But, yeah, you know, those things come up later. Once on the other side, they began to plan either an egress down into the chasm or possibly continuing down into the tunnel. The creatures that they identified as cloakers had been circling above the chasm, but they noticed a noise. As they looked down, they could see the drow guide, heavily injured, crawling the wall of the chasm. Once on the edge, what created your anger again, Gelmir? What was he trying to do that
didn't do anything?
Alex, while they were in the portable hole where I keep all my valued possessions,
right?
Alex had stolen my blue dragon scale that I convinced
right.
the blue dragon to give me.
Right.
And then he gave it to the drow. So when I turned around, I thought the drow had stolen my blue dragon scale.
And
so I shot him.
Yeah, and as the drow is confused as to why he's holding the blue dragon scale, just looks and watches as Gelmir fires two shots from his crossbow bolt, both bolts striking the drow in the chest as he goes falling over backwards into the chasm, still clutching onto the scale after getting shot. Gelmir then proceeded to sprint towards the drow and leap into the air, chasing after his blue dragon scale. That's where we last left off, everyone. What do you guys want to do?
I want to get my blue dragon scale.
Well, you're currently free-falling, Gelmir. And you're free-falling, like, you know, you're lighter, so you're not falling nearly as fast. So the drow's probably a good 20, maybe 10 feet ahead of you, as you both are kind of just like falling, you know, Gandalf Balrog style down into this chasm.
So I'm glad I've had time to think about this, right? So what I'm going to do is I'm going to use my daily summon of Gribbets.
Okay.
To summon him like 10 feet below the drow, right? And then I'm going to try and get Gribbets to like grab the dragon scale. I don't care about the drow. The drow can fall. That's fine.
Right.
I just want to get Gribbets to grab the dragon scale from him. And if that works, then I'll turn into mist and float back up. And if not, then it's going to be really dicey.
Can you cast two spells? Is ghastly form considered a spell?
So the summons is an action. It's not a spell. It's like a class ability.
Yeah, it's like the one thing he can do per day that won't consume any like what do they call it? Ceremonial or what do you call it when it takes 10 minutes? Ritual.
Does it require concentration?
It doesn't cost a ritual ability.
No.
It doesn't require any requirements. You can just do it in midair.
Yep. And then my ring is at will, so that's not a spell either. Because that's, so I can technically still cast a spell if I want to.
It's very like Tom Cruise Mission Impossible or something like that. It feels very much like
Gelmir does all of his own stunts. I promise you. Yeah.
It makes him admirable, that's for sure.
I'm considering jumping after and casting fly, but I think that's.
Well, I imagine I
But I don't know
imagine
what my
the
objective
four
would
of you are now at the edge of the chasm looking down.
Yeah.
Now you could see Gelmir falling, the drow falling, and then all of a sudden you see a poof of gas, and then you watch as Gribbets appears below the drow. But all that shifts down into the darkness. So after a few seconds, you lose track of everything, and something is going on, but you're not entirely sure what the hell Gelmir's doing.
I'm personally just wondering if there's any treasures down there, and we should check them out. But I guess we lost Gelmir. He's gone.
You do realize that you're going to be punished for this, right?
It's not my fault that he jumped off the chasm and killed the drow. It's nothing to do.
The skin, and you took, and then you gave it.
I was trying to give a
that
gift.
That wasn't yours to give. It wasn't it. And then he killed and those were
like Witcher's got Derek's book. I was like, where is this in the book?
How do we even explain that you and the
Witcher, I get it.
I just sit down at the edge of the cliff, and I just
what?
You know, if this was held in a court up top, I think the scholars would be in favor of me. I think I would be proven not guilty, as he was the one that killed the drow. And I think,
Due to a situation that you orchestrated.
Why? That's my only question. Why?
I think the defense of my case is pretty strong.
I'm not asking you to defend yourself. I'm not arbitrating here. I'm not litigating.
And was the dragon scale really his to begin with? I think he might have stolen it.
I have an appropriate punishment in mind, but it requires both.
I can't even. What are we gonna do? Those people we killed there, and then we have to tell them, or if we tell them, they might blame us too. And
what else do I see around the edge of this
give me a perception check as you kind of like just focus a little bit more. And we'll get back to Gelmir and Gribbets in a moment, because this is all simultaneous anyways. What'd you get?
8.
I mean, you're pretty much still relying on dark vision at this point, right? And if you don't have it, and you have a torch out, I can't remember if you guys had like...
No, I have dark vision and magical dark. I can see through magical. I have the extra thing to go 120 feet.
Yeah, I mean, everything is like in shades of gray, black, and white, right? Just like, it's almost like you're watching, like a black and white character, like cartoon sketches, right? It's like, you see the outline of everything. You can see the crumbled side of the chasm where the bridge used to be in order to come across this huge 200-foot space. It's jagged and collapsed enough. You begin to realize that the reason why the drow was able to climb back up, there's enough climbing footholds and handholds. It's just, you look up and you can still see those shadows of those creatures. And as you look up at that moment, even though you can't see detail, you just watch as something almost like as a blur just goes right by the four of you, down towards where Gelmir and Gribbets are falling.
God damn it.
Should I go help him?
Should I exercise a conscience?
Does it pass me in the sense within 10 feet of me that I can...
No, it's more close to the center of the chasm like it did before. And this is a predatory creature. You get the feeling this thing's just acting instinctually. Mm-hmm. It noticed something again in the chasm. So it's, it's just like it's predatory. It saw something, it sensed it. And about 75 feet out in front of you, you could just see this blur just like descend after Gelmir.
So I leap
or the
up.
drow, depending on your perspective.
I freak out and I leap up, but I do take a knee to steady myself, and I fire 2 bolts of Eldritch Blast at
the
cloak flying down.
Disadvantage.
So First one definitely misses. It's a 2+ something. Let me just see. That's
Hits the side of the wall. It's like a pulse of
yeah.
purple
It's
light.
only a 9. Yeah, that's a 9 with the bonus to hit. Second one is a 7, or excuse me, it's a 15.
15 will just hit. Go ahead and roll damage. As
Woohoo!
it kind of like arcs down in the center of the chasm, and you watch something screech and get struck by the Eldritch Bolt.
Sweet.
And you did that on a disadvantage roll?
Yeah, I got a 19 and an 8.
That's awesome.
So that's a 8 damage.
I got a 5 and a 20, but it's 5 plus 15.
No, it's I wish. But yeah, it's a 8 damage.
So Winter just reacted to
Was it
that.
8 or
Alexander, you pointed it out as it happened. Gelmir, you're still following. We'll resolve you and Gribbets in a moment because you've turned to gas. And I'm assuming you ordered Gribbets to go after the shield.
Well,
or
I
the scale?
haven't turned to gas yet. I'm waiting
Okay.
to see if Gribbets can get it first,
Gotcha.
and then I'll turn.
Okay. Rahi and Tyr, what are you two doing as all this is going on?
Pretty much just observing. I have
That's not fair. You don't disadvantage for observance.
Inspiration point for
I know D6 inspiration for not getting into trouble. So you're just kind of like watching everything that's going on.
yeah.
Give me a perception check. You don't have dark vision though, do you?
I do not.
So give me perception with disadvantage. Then we'll see what Tyr's doing with all this nonsense going on around him.
Oh, just on a nerdy point though, I do have Devil Sight, so I can see it normally up to 120 feet.
Okay. Good. Oh, that's right, because you're level up. Gotcha.
Yeah.
11.
Okay. Not as good as your passive, but you are in the dark. Tyr, what are you doing? You're just watching Rahi like near the edge looking around. Alexander pointed to something that just flew down into the chasm after Gelmir. And then you watch as Wintrood did 2 Eldritch Blasts at the shadow of the chasm. What are you doing?
I'm gonna sit at the edge of the chasm with my legs
Okay.
hanging over
Okay.
and cross my arms, and I'm just gonna watch Gelmir as he fallen.
Yeah. And this is how a team works.
There's not really much for me to do.
So, Tyr, since you're doing that, go ahead and give me a perception check. But I think, do you have dark vision?
I do.
So give me a normal perception check.
Yeah, he's a half elf, so
That's
right
right.
here. Yeah.
Yep.
16.
16. Okay. You can actually, just as Wintrood blasted the one creature that flew by, you watched as 2 more behind that one dipped into the chasm as well. But they were being a little bit more stealthy, but you managed to catch a glimpse of them, Tyr, as there's now at least 3 of them now pursuing the Drow and Gelmirs. They've been, they're in the middle of this chasm falling down the middle of it.
Then Tyr's gonna yell to Gelmir, 2 more on your rear.
So, Gelmir, as you're falling with the wind in your ears, you just hear something about your rear. And then you notice, Gelmir, just as you summon Gribbets, something flies right by you. And it flies by you. It strikes the drow dead in the chest, right? And you watch as the drow's arm and gets pulled off. And then you watch as his neck goes at a weird angle. And you can't really see what's got him all that clearly, but something's got him. And as it scoops him away and tears him up towards the edge to your right of the chasm wall, the shield is now free falling. So that he let go of his he let go of not the shield, but the scale, right? So now the scale's like fluttering like a kite, and Gribbets is right below it, and then you're right above it. And it's like right, and then you watch as that cloaker takes the dead remains of the drow like over to the edge of the chasm wall, and then perches there with it. And you could just as you pass, you just hear him crunching bone and meat as you go right by. But then after you hear Tyr's voice, something about your rear, you kind of look up and you can see 2 more like blurry shadows beginning to like pursue you at this point. What do you want to do, Gelmir?
So how far is the scale from me, not Gribbets?
10 feet from you below, but because it's lighter than Gribbets and lighter than you, it's actually fluttering up like towards you now because it's gotten caught in the updraft, and now it's kind of like, you know, fluttering lightly near you because it's a very light item. I mean, it's a dragon scale.
Surf the scale.
You can try to catch it.
So yeah, I'm gonna grab the scale myself.
Okay, give me a dex check. Just good old fashioned dex check. See if you can grab it. You reach out for it.
It's a 15.
All right, I put the DC at a 12, so you're good.
And then once I have it in my possession, I'm gonna turn it into gaseous form.
Okay, you're now a cloud. Gribbous is below you. As you become a cloud, you go stock still, like you're floating in that space. You can feel the updraft kind of hit you. As the updraft hits you, two of those cloakers pass right through you, right through your gaseous form, and they're both now diving towards Gribbets.
I will apologize to Gribbets for bringing him into this existence of a nightmare, and then I'll start floating back up.
Okay, as you float up, there's going to be 2 attacks on Gribbets.
Yeah, that sounds about right.
Both
What
with
a
advantage.
clusterfuck.
One's an 18, and the other one's
18.
a 16.
18 just hits.
Okay. So I need Gribbets to make a strength save.
Oh no!
Because
That's
he's
a
not a
2.
corpse.
That is a 2.
Okay, so that's 18 points of slashing damage. And he is currently held in the mouth of the cloaker. And he's being taken over to the side of the chasm. And he's basically in the process of being swallowed. And as you float up, you just hear this crunching noise and this like something getting swallowed whole as you begin to float up back towards the surface of the chasm.
All right. I will continue floating. Regret the decisions I've made to a small degree. Let no one know that. And then I guess, assuming I get to the top at some point.
Yeah, at some point. So the 4 of you waiting to see what's going to happen. You see if this 5-foot cumulative ball of familiar gas appear, which you know is Gelmir. You've seen him do this before. He floats up to the top of the chasm, and he's just like sitting there. And then you watch as 2 more cloakers go right through Gelmir's ghost, like his cloud form, and plummet deeper into the chasm. And you can hear now, like chomping and fighting amongst the other cloakers as they're probably fighting, from your perspective, Gelmir, they're probably fighting over the remains of the drow.
I back up, like, as I see those, I back up towards the entrance of the other side, and then I kind of, like, turn around and look, like, and start walking quickly towards the... to leave everyone. Because I don't want these things to come and strike me, so I'm like, okay.
Yeah, you guys watch as Alexander, like, backs up into the entranceway of the other cavern, or the other tunnel that should take you deeper down into the space.
And then I kind of turn around and just start, like, quickly sneaking away.
From my vantage point, would I have seen what happened to Gribbets? Or is that too
No,
far back?
Gribbets and the drow are a mystery to you. You just watched as a floating gaseous cloud that is Gelmir just kind of appears out in the middle of the chasm.
Okay, well, before Gelmir gets back up as a gaseous form, I want to use my circlet of self-disguise to turn it into the drow.
Okay.
And I'm going to stand at the top, waiting for him to come back up.
So, Gelmir, as you're floating up, you can see the drow waiting for you on the edge of the chasm.
So once I can land on the ground, I'll turn back into Gelmir. I'm going to have to pull out my crossbow and look at the drow.
So Winter, the drow's now sitting on the edge of the chasm. You know Tyr was there before. Gelmir's floated over the edge of the chasm and back into Gelmir form. No sign of Gribbets or anything. He's just got his crossbow out pointed at Tyr.
Got my scale in one arm, my crossbow in the other, and I'm just like, never again, drow. You ever try to steal from me, I'll swear to God I'll kill you a second time.
What's it? Wait, I don't. Tyr!
Wintred!
And then-
This has nothing to do with you. We're talking
Armor-
right now.
armor
Adults are
class.
talking. in the crib.
No, stop! He turned into the. That's Tyr. He's.
I don't
can't
care
believe
what the
I have
drow
to
turned
explain
into.
This. Shush!
I don't care what the drought turned into.
No, Tyr turned it.
Uh.
Why does everybody think there's some sort of sick comedian in this room?
I'm
He is.
foolish goblin, and then I'll start just laughing, and then turn back to normal.
I'm going
I'm
to.
gonna,
Cheers
like-
back.
I want to fire a bolt, but like last minute, like pull it away a little bit, so that
Okay.
it just misses.
Yeah, give me an attack with disadvantage. Just in case you roll double 20s.
That's a 16.
What's your armor class tier?
17.
Okay. Yeah, and like the bolt at the last minute when you turn back into tier, he moves his bolt away or his crossbow away, and the bolt sticks right in between like where your feet are. Just
What the fuck?
right into the ground.
Here, you almost died right there. You have no idea. It was super close. It was. Oh, don't do that again.
What the fuck was that for?
And now Alexander is kind of moving even quicker towards the entrance. He's like, okay, this is getting dangerous. His mistrust for his teammates is increasing as he's kind of scurrying away.
Alexander, you feel a sharp pain in your ankle.
God damn.
I stop moving and check what it is.
You look down and this like 5-foot long centipede retracts into the cavern wall. And you're watching as your ankle is swelling and then
Again?
slightly going numb.
Hell yeah.
Take 2
Guys,
points.
I know
Oh,
this
yeah.
is not the time, but I got stabbed by a centipede.
Give me 2 points of piercing damage, and then give me a con save, please.
Guys,
It's all right, Alexander.
Ronnie, I
You're
need your
invincible.
help.
We're
Ronnie,
fine. You're good. You've been through worse.
It's a 12.
12. Take 52 points of poison damage.
52?
Oh shit.
I almost maxed it. I missed the max by like 4.
I almost maxed it.
Like,
One of my DM failings this weekend.
You guys watch as
2 points of
as-
poison damage.
and
I
now-
immediately drink a potion of healing.
yeah, it's like he's sweating. Like Alexander's just profusely sweating. His face looks like pale. His eyes are looking glazed over, and his right leg, the ankle's gone from being swollen to the right leg being swollen.
All
I
right.
immediately I
you
drink
gotta
a potion
lose the leg.
immediately.
Okay,
Alexander,
go ahead and
you
roll
gotta-
your D4. Is it just a regular healing potion, Alex?
Yeah.
Okay, 2d4 plus 2.
I thought I had a better one though too. 2d4.
You might.
Rahi, you're the closest thing we have to a doctor. I think you need to amputate. That's just how things work.
Oh, I do. I have 2 of the better ones too.
We should probably start at the waist. Let's just get rid of everything from there down.
Okay. So I'm not dead yet. Okay.
I'm not dead yet. The optimism in that statement was just stellar.
Guys, this is dangerous over here. I kind of look my surroundings to see if there's any other areas that they would be coming out of, or traps in general. Just kind of like this, or whatever I would consider
Yeah,
a
so
trap.
you're like in the first like 10 feet of the continuation of the tunnel at the edge of
Right.
the chasm, right?
Yeah.
Everybody else is either trying to figure out why Gelmir's killing people or Tyr is disguised like, yeah, I mean, there's chaos back. Rahi's watching all this, but Alexander, as you begin to note, after that centipede stings you, you're now seeing like you turn to look and you watch as this rather large crystalline spider retracts up into like a crevice. It's almost like creatures have got like drawn by all this activity. Like maybe there hasn't been activity here for a while, and they've just been drawn in by it somehow. As soon as they're aware of you looking at their direction, they seem to scatter into different nooks and crannies of the tunnel.
I don't mention any of this to the team because I'm feared that Gelmir won't come with us if he knows there's spiders here.
That's fair.
So,
Good chance.
so do I notice any sort of danger if I continue trying to like?
I mean, what's your maximum vision in the dark?
It's 120 feet
Yeah, I mean, go ahead and give me a perception check as you look a little bit more
because I have that
specifically into this
skill or
tunnel that
whatever.
you guys have to go into if you choose to.
Yeah, I have that. I think Devil's Sight. Yeah, I have Devil's Sight. I can see in darkness, both magical and non-magical, 120 feet.
Okay. So give me a perception check.
14.
I would say at the very least about 60 feet, halfway down your vision, right? Like 60 feet down, you could see something is webbed and clustered up into the corner of the tunnel that you're looking down. And then you watch as a very large, multi-legged shadow kind of crosses that clumpy mass and like disappears like into the crevices of the tunnel.
And do I feel that I'm still poisoned?
You're feeling it begin to wear off.
Okay.
But there's something, the swelling doesn't go down, and your leg still hurts.
Okay. I back out of the entrance to the tunnel, and I try to find like a secure resting position.
Okay.
Alexander, what happened?
I got bit a little bit, but not bit.
bit.
Stung is the correct.
You got stung.
I got stung.
What?
And I don't think I'm allergic to stings, but I don't know. I'm swelling up pretty
Dear
bad.
cave traffic controller.
What?
I think the correct one would be bit for a centipede.
It's something protruded into my skin, but it wasn't like a multi-teeth situation. So that's why I'm thinking it's more of a sting than a bite.
You're
Did you
muted.
say
Richard, what is the technical term here?
There's more
For
bugs.
you, it's an idiot. I think we need to huddle up, everybody. You just stay there, Alex.
I'm good
Everybody,
right here.
Come
Yeah.
together here.
Rahi, give me a medicine check while this is going on, because you would know a little bit about what maybe has happened to Alexander. By the way, you're on mute, Rahi.
Are there more bugs? Is this a thing?
No, I went in there so you guys didn't have to. You know, I'm the first to say that.
Yeah,
I'm
you're
willing to take
invincible.
that first.
We get that.
No. Okay, a few things. First off, we have to go back and explain what happened to our guide, so those poor people back at White Moon know. And
Wintrude?
no, don't shake your head. We are going
Wintrude?
Listen.
He died of natural causes.
The cloaker, he fell and the cloakers got him is going to be the story, but they need to know that the guide
He never
has
showed
died.
up for work, Wintrude.
Wintrude,
They
this is my
saw
problem.
him leave with us.
Wintrude,
The guard.
I said we should go back and get a replacement a long time ago, and you didn't want to do it. And now you're saying we need to go back and get a replacement. I just can't with you.
Excuse me. And that brings me to my second point. If it doesn't belong to you, don't touch it, Alex.
Well,
No, I think you should be talking to Gelmir. He
Gelmir's
took the
stuff
dragon scale
alone.
originally.
He
as long as
Is a
that's
thief
directed to
taking
Alex,
from a
we're
thief?
okay.
Stealing? Is stealing from a person
Rahi,
that
what did you
stole
get for your
stealing?
medicine check?
why?
I got an 8, but
Okay.
didn't I recall this exact same thing happened before?
Yeah, but
So-
what's it? So like you're looking at is like they're bickering over what to do about the dead drow, right? And Wintrude wants to go back, and Gelmir and Alexander want to go forward. So you're kind of like eyeing his ankle, and you notice that the ankle is pulsing now.
Oh god.
Like maybe something is gestating inside the wound.
Yeah, I think you need to clear out the pus. There's a pus situation going
What
on.
the fuck's going on over there?
Get rid of it.
I
We gotta kill
didn't-
Alexander.
I stab myself with a dagger.
So right as you're staring at it, Alexander takes out a dagger and lances it into the wound.
But I try to do it as carefully as possible to not make his.
You're gonna
to
take
just
one.
make a.
You'll
yeah.
take 1 point of damage.
Okay.
And as soon as you like lacerate the wound with your dagger, like 12 little larva creatures come like pouring out of the wound onto the
then I
ground,
also
and
stab
these
him.
little 1-inch long larvae start trying to scatter away into the cavern walls.
Yeah, I'm gonna.
I'm
stab
going to
Alexander
try
as well.
and grab some of them.
Okay, give me a dex check, Rahi. Gelmir, are you grabbing or killing?
I'm also stabbing his leg.
Gelmir, back away. Back away.
I got this is
Gelmir.
what we're doing.
No,
I'm following your lead.
Gelmir, stop.
Hey,
Could I
this
make
is how
that
bugs
sleight
are
of
made.
hand?
You're gonna turn into a bug. We gotta kill you.
Yeah, Gelmir, stop.
That's
it.
how bugs are made.
We do not need an immortal bug in this world. This is not okay.
I don't
could
allow
I-
him to stab me.
Wintrude internally is fighting off the temptation to hand over her dagger of lightning to Gelmir and just see what happens. Just like... But she does.
So, Ronnie, what'd you get for your next check?
Could I make that sleight of hand?
Sure, go for it.
Thank you. I was about to roll 19, but then I rolled a nat 1.
Yeah, you reach out to try to grab a handful of them, and they just slither away into the cracks of the wall.
All right. On the topic of Alexander and Gelmir's behavior,
Yeah,
I
that's
have-
them over the edge.
I have a proposal.
Yes.
Use the scale to make sure we don't get stabbed again.
Will you please let him talk?
Her.
Let her talk.
Sorry, I did the same thing. I'm sorry, Ronnie.
Given my frame and proportions, I understand. Regardless, among my people, we had something called Borakai. It roughly translates to the bond. It's a sort of ritual we did when two people repeatedly wrong each other. I think it's appropriate to do here. The punishment is that you, Alexander and Gelmir, have to hold hands for 24 consecutive hours. To assist with that, I would recommend tying your hands together.
I'm okay with that if Gilbert's okay with that.
I have done nothing wrong.
I reach out my hand and I say, okay, Rahi, I'm willing to do this, but can you fix up this wound here because it's looking
Let's-
pretty bad.
Let's
And
take
if
care of
Gilbert
Alex
doesn't want to
tonight.
hold my hand, I understand. And I start like
Gelmir-
rubbing his chest with my hand, like, come on, let's bring it in here.
I'm not holding hands with a bug. I'm not doing it.
That is,
He's halfway to being a bug, and I'm not doing it.
then you will be the first to kill him when he turns.
Can I take a look at
Yeah.
Alex's leg?
What
Yeah,
do you mean when he turns? Is he turning into what bit
He's
him?
no longer
Yeah.
poisoned here. Like
is how bugs are made,
after,
Wintrude.
after he self-lances out the larva that was implanted in the sting, you could tell that he's no longer poisoned, and that might have been just the effect of the larva existing inside the wound. So at least that part's been dealt with. But he's looking still pretty rough. He took a lot of poison damage from that effect.
Okay, so I'm gonna say, among my people, we would just pee on it for the cure, and then I'm gonna cast Healing Word at the 5th level
Ooh, snap! Roll some dice.
for
My people would just be on it.
20 health.
So you got 20 health back there, Alex.
I feel the healing, and I'm like, pee away.
All right.
No, Gilbert, not you. You're not part of his people. That's culture. There's a word for
Appropriation.
this.
I
That
appreciate
is
other
not.
people's culture.
Please, it's not a jellyfish that bit him or anything, and that's very unsanitary.
Wintrude, I
That's not
feel better
sanitary.
already
It's sterile.
before he's even peed.
It's
Just
sterile.
imagine how good I'll
Sure.
feel after he pees.
It's sterile.
Check
Check your book.
Really, I don't.
Check
I
your book.
mean,
Here, just don't let, just pee.
why would I have a book that explains whether peeing on a wound is sanitary or
Check your book.
And as I'm like holding out my leg to get
if
peed
you-
on, I'm reaching out my hand to Gelmir, and I'm like, hold my hand. Maybe we can rejoice through this experience.
Can
Keep
we?
tempted to bite it.
All right, let's get some. Hey, all right, well, let's
Please,
say that.
nobody urinate on anybody in the group, please, please.
Right.
And just
Count
listen.
back on.
Please let me shush. Just listen. We have to go explain that the cloakers killed the guy. They need to know what happened to
They'll
their
figure
person.
it out.
Yeah,
No,
no,
they
they're gonna
figure it
know.
out.
They do
No.
not. This is a dangerous terrain. He died mostly of natural causes. We already concluded that he was dead when he initially fell.
I say we retrieve the body and keep it in your little bag because if they do find it with an arrow with a bolt,
I like the retrieve the body idea.
There's not
There
going
could
to
be loot on his body that we did not consider.
The creatures are devouring his corpse. what would possibly be and
like down below you here.
Yo, guys, we gotta move. All right, I don't know what we're sitting here. Tyr, have you peed yet? I need to get moving. Gelmir, hold my hand.
I'm not holding your hand.
Well, here's
I
my
did nothing
thing.
wrong.
Here's my thing. Were we gonna go back when he originally fell?
Can we?
When he was originally attacked?
I wanted to go back originally when he fell, and no one else did. So therefore, I think that moment has passed. When true.
In all fairness, technically, I did go back when he fell, like literally right as he fell.
Well, I mean, you went to go
I was there.
retrieve your dragon scale. Look,
We're not talking about semantics, all right? I did it. I went back.
There's a whole thing. Look, let's set aside whether
I don't
we're
think
going
I'm
back or
comfortable
not
with
going
Gelmir
back.
knowing what the word semantics means.
He's heard other people say it.
Gelmir,
Come on.
that's not the proper use of semantics. Semantics
Listen.
is used when you hug someone,
Alex,
and you gotta
Alex,
hug me.
Alex,
You're never getting semantics from
Now-
me. I'm
now-
never giving you semantics.
now that we know that your leg is not falling off and you're not turning into a giant insect, just rest
don't
easy,
know that.
Gelmir. Alex, you need to stop provoking Gelmir. You are. This is life and
My
death.
hand is
This
out.
is life and death.
It's out.
No.
It's
The
whole.
Borak Kai will solve that problem in that
See?
either they will have to learn to work together
Yes.
or they will murder each other. Either way resolves the problem.
Oh, I can't kill him. He's invincible. That's not fair.
No, there's a
Then
term
you
that
will-
I learned. It was called Boombaya. I think it was maybe Doombaya, something like that. But that's what we'll all rejoice in.
Also, in accordance to Borak Kai, if you fail to keep holding hands for 24 hours, it resets. On the 7th day of consecutive hand holding, you will lose both said hands.
As this is
Let's
going
not
on,
do
you guys notice about a half a dozen of
7
those.
days.
You guys
Do we
notice
have
about
to move, guys?
a half a
like-
dozen of
that's
those cloakers are now beginning to swirl back up out of the chasm to get back up to their original height that they were. And
That
the
is
only
the
reason you noticed it is because one of them was carrying the leg of the drow, so there's little droplets of blood that kind of splatter onto the edge of where you guys are.
I think it may be too dangerous to backtrack now, so I think our best
Yeah.
path is to
Nobody's
keep moving forward.
nobody's ever going in my hole again. I promise that.
Tyr, did you pee on my leg or no?
I just hit on it and just rub some dirt on it. It's good to go. We're good.
Okay, thank you. I continue moving forward. I just go to the gate, but I'm like really paying attention with my dark vision to look for any centipedes or anything as
Okay, so
proceed forward slowly.
Alexander's leading the way. Who's following Alexander at this point?
I'll follow, but like with
Okay.
my crossbow trained on him in case he turns into a bug.
Okay, who's following Gelmir?
I'm gonna go last. I'm
Okay.
staying far behind those two because
I'll go in the middle.
Okay,
because
so I got Alexander, Gelmir, Tyr in the middle, Rahi following near the end, and with Wintrup bringing up the rear. Alexander, go ahead and give me another give me an investigation this check, because now you're being more cautious and you're taking a little bit more time to kind of like avoid and notice anything that might be
16.
Yeah. So as you proceed down this tunnel, and it's got a slight decline to it, so you could feel like it's a declining tunnel that's taking you guys even deeper, and that's when you begin to notice, like on the right hand side, you can see clumps of spider webs where spiders and eggs are beginning to hatch, and you can see other strange looking arachnid creatures disappearing as you guys walk by. This entire tunnel just seems infested with lots of just like cavern crawlers, creatures, insects, which kind of makes sense with what you guys dealt with back in the tomb as you get deeper and deeper. I would say at one point, the majority of the insects you're beginning to experience just as the tunnel begins to level out and begin to kind of like get into another open cavern. Like the 5 of you have been traveling for about maybe 15 minutes down this tunnel. It just goes down and down and down and deeper. Now you're noticing, Alexander, like cadaver insects, like things that would feast on like corpses and carrion, and you see little small carrion crawlers that have recently hatched that disappear. And as you guys get to the end of this tunnel, for you, Alexander, it opens up into a very large, expansive cavern. And in this cavern, there's stalagmites, stalactites. It's all like mineral, kind of like leftover residue of this cavern. And you can see that it branches off into numerous like smaller and bigger tunnels that don't look like they were made. They look very unnatural. And that's when you notice in the very center of this cavern is a very shallow pool of water from your vantage point. And in the middle of the
while we're going through the cave with the carrion crawlers, I would like to keep an eye out for any insects with potential medicinal properties.
Okay, give me survivor check as you begin to do that.
Playing low wisdom characters is annoying. 10.
10? I'll say you grab a handful of carrion maggots that you can cram into a jar. You know that sometimes those can be used for cleaning wounds if they're processed correctly in your alchemy kit. So a DC 10 is not a horrible roll. But once in the expanse of this open cavern, you begin to realize that as all of you stand on the edge of the entrance point to it, and Alex, since you were leading the party, the 200-foot diameter shallow water, in the middle of it is a small rock, and above it is, I think if it's a stalagmite if it's hanging,
Stalactite.
right? Stalactite if it's hanging, stalactite T for top. If it's hanging, and you can see a single drop of water like every 30 seconds.
Now, with my 120 feet, can I see any enemies or any sort of shadows?
No, but the entire chamber is bioluminescent.
Okay.
Like you can see these little tiny crystals in the walls. You can see little 1-inch like worm-like creatures that are green, blue, yellow, and red, kind of undulating along the walls. And then the shallow pool of water, when the drop hits it, the bioluminescence of the water kind of cascades out from the center.
Gelmir, pull out that book. It's totally gonna find gems here. That gem book I gave you. You know that gem book, Gelmir? That really.
It's my book.
Okay. Well, I'm just saying, but there's gems all over. I'm seeing them now. I'm just saying.
Yeah, I'm gonna open it because I want to open it.
Okay. All right. Just making sure. All right.
I want to open the book, but I want to keep it from like Alexander's line of sight.
Give me a deception check as you do that.
That's a 17.
17, yeah. What's your passive perception, Alex?
It is 12.
12, yeah. So Alex doesn't see you do it. You just kind of pull out the book, you flip it open, and sure enough.
Can I see since I'm behind him?
Yeah, what's your passive tier?
21.
Oh, yeah. You watch as Gelmir opens up his book after Alex tells him to, and he's looking at it. And you notice as he opens up the book, it automatically goes to a page, and the page is of pearls. And a floating pearl shows up in the book. And as the pearl floats, Gelmir, your eye is attracted to something, although no one else can see it but you because you're holding the book. There's a thin arcane line going all the way to the pool of water.
Since I couldn't pee out Alexander, I gotta go take a piss over in this direction. Leave me alone for 5 minutes. And I'll start following that arcane line.
Okay.
And that arcane line's straight ahead, so he would have to pass me, right?
Oh, yeah.
I reach out for his hand to grab it.
You can give me a sleight of hand check. Gelmir, you can give me a dex save. If his sleight of hand beats your dex
11.
save, okay.
18.
Yeah, Gelmir just kind of like withdraws from your attempt, goes right by your body check, and is now walking through the cavern. And you watch as Gelmir steps into the cavern, like all these luminescent insects flutter up into the air around him and like kind of dissipate up into the cavern walls.
I didn't like that. That was weird. But we're okay.
Gelmir, it's kind of odd that you're pissing straight ahead. I guess it is a pool of water.
Yeah. I'll tell you.
At this point, Gelmir's
this is
walking
normal.
towards that pool of water.
This is perfectly normal. I do this all
With
the time.
I have 21 passive perception too, and I have noticed
Keep the Underdark blue.
the situation.
No, you were a little further back
A little
and
further back,
behind.
okay.
But by the time you guys are now watching Gelmir pass right by Alexander to try to get as close as he can towards that water, you hear him bellow out his explanation, and this whole bioluminescent cavern is both alive with light as well as luminescent small pieces of rock everywhere that you can see. And it's a large cavern. There's like lots of different like luminescent tunnels of various sizes that go off in different directions.
This is going to give me a seizure.
So Rahi, here, if we stop and think about this for a second, we don't know where we're going. We have all these tunnels, not even made by any resident or denizen of this, and we're just wandering without any sense of direction. We have to go back.
We have.
Richard, you could go back. I'm not stopping you.
I'm not talking to you.
You can look for tracks of some sort or anything. I'd like to. Are the tunnels also like lit up?
Some of them are less so than others. Give me a survival check, Tier, while you're kind of seeing if you can find any kind of like sign that something's already been through here.
18.
As Gelmir's walking towards the water, and the rest of you are at the entrance, you notice along the right-hand side of the cavern, there's a well-established footpath. It's maybe about 2 feet wide. It looks like it's been kind of like turned into a purposeful path over time. And you could even see like a discarded backpack, like somebody's backpack was old and fallen apart, and it's just kind of on the trail. And you get the feeling that there is a trail that kind of cuts through this cavern, and this might be the route that people take.
Is that the only route he sees, by the way?
That would be the only one he sees that looks like, based on his description of what he's looking for.
So it looks like there might be a path over there on the right. I'd like to go and inspect the backpack.
Okay. Give me an investigation check as you go and check out the backpack.
I want to inspect this pool that Gelmir is going towards.
All right, so you're right behind
24.
Gelmir, and Gelmir is about to the edge of the pool at this point. What'd you
following,
get, Tier?
24.
Okay.
I'm following Tier, but not in a Gelmir or Alex, like I'm going to take whatever you're doing from you, sort of.
Right. Rahi, what are you doing at this point? You've got Alexander and Gelmir going towards the pool. Tier has discovered a pathway along the right side of the cavern, and him and Wintrude are checking on something over there, as far as you can tell.
I'm going to split the difference to the point where I could basically run to either party if someone starts to get eaten.
That's fair. As you stand in the middle of the cavern, then keeping an eye on Alexander and Gelmir, and keeping an eye on Tyr and Wintrude off to your right. Go ahead and give me a perception check, Rahi, just so I have a number to operate with. Because I can't really use your passive because you're actually paying attention. So I want to give you a chance. Yeah,
I wish I could have used my passive because that is a 4.
A 4? What's your passive?
Passive. Let me see.
Like 12 or 14?
9.
9? I mean, now we're just splitting hairs.
Tomato, Robbie.
I rolled an investigation check for the pool. I don't know if that's necessary, but
okay. So Gelmir's going to get there first, so we'll come to you guys now.
Okay.
So Gelmir, you can hear Alexander because your passive is high enough. You can hear Alexander getting closer, but you're now at the edge.
Space.
Yeah, you're at the edge of the pool, and as you look down, the water looks really, really shallow. Like it's maybe only a foot deep. And scattered in the water are these small, like mollusk-like creatures. They look like clamshells and other kind of mollusk-like shells. And as soon as the arcane light, the thread hits the edge of the pool, it spiderwebs out into about 24 of those mollusks. If the book is accurate, there could be 24 pearls here. Maybe they're in the clamshells themselves.
Alex, I'm gonna need you to leave this room for the next hour.
Yeah, I still try to investigate the pool.
Yeah, give me an investigation check as you're looking at the pool, Alex.
I rolled a 23. Or I
Okay.
rolled an 18
So
plus
you
5,
can
23.
see that the 200-foot around pool of water is only about a foot deep. There's a stalagmite in the middle that's being fed by a stalactite directly above it. And you can hear the drop of water every 30 seconds hitting the water. And when it ripples, the water itself is it's got some weird bioluminescence to it. You can see these clam and mollusk-like structures all in the pool of water. And every now and then, as that ripple of drop hits the water and it ripples, it disturbs some of the small creatures in the water. And then you can see those strange tongues coming out of the mollusks and like eating the bioluminescence. And with that roll, Alexander, you watch as one of the clams open and there's something very bright and shiny inside the clam.
I
and then
try
the
to
clam
use
closes.
lightning lure as a whip to try to catch one and bring it in, like I'm fishing.
So you're going to use a 12-gauge shotgun on a squirrel?
It's gonna just disintegrate.
I just want to make sure we're on the same page.
I'm just trying to catch it and bring it in. I guess it would do damage to it, wouldn't it?
Oh, yeah, it's going to do damage to it.
And then I guess I'm not going to do that because that is going to electrocute the whole freaking thing. So never mind. I'm not going to do that.
Okay.
Do it. Do it.
So Tyr and Wintrude, you're over by the backpack. Wintrude, you're looking up this pathway that goes you lose it up to the edge of your vision. And it goes deep into the caverns. So it looks like a very trodden and used pathway.
Okay.
But leaning up against the wall with some damage to it, you watch as Tyr kind of carefully opens up a backpack. Tyr, what'd you get for your investigation? 18?
24.
24. Woo. Nice. Oh, yeah, I wrote that down. What am I thinking? So as you open up the backpack, there's a name on the inside flap of the backpack. Cimmerian is what it says on the inside, right? And it looks like it was at one point a really nice backpack. And it's filled with climbing gear. So you could see that there's a 25-foot professionally bundled up cord of rope. There's a small bag of 20 pitons, a small climbing hammer. And what's really interesting is there's grapple boots inside the bag as well. And the grapple boots are these metal spikes that adhere and can be belted on to the bottom of your boots.
I'm going to take those.
Okay.
Gelmir, give me the scale so we can swoop in these clams. I know what you're doing, Gelmir. Okay.
Hold on. Give me a second. I got an idea. All right. I want to roll out my portable hole on the ground right outside of the water.
Okay.
I want to throw my scale in there before Alexander tries to grab it. And then I just want to try and just grab all of them and just start throwing them into the hole.
Okay. So, Alexander, you watch as Gelmir pulls out his portable hole, lays it on the ground, immediately places the scale inside of it. Gelmir, as soon as you touch the water, I need you to make a con save, please.
I knew it. I knew it.
15.
Yeah, the water's so cold that the moment you touch it, you feel frostbite start to set in almost immediately. But the DC on the save was a 15. So you take half of 12 points of cold damage. And you immediately pull your hand back as you almost submerge it into the water. It's so cold it burns.
How many shells did I get?
I mean, if you want to plunge and keep your hand in the water.
Oh, yeah.
Okay, give me another con save as you do that.
I knew you'd be like, I don't care, don't worry.
19.
19. You barely avoid frostbite. Roll a d4. So you've already taken half of 12 points of cold damage. Roll a d4 for me.
4.
You managed to gather 4 small clamshells. and you take another 12 points of cold damage, but halved to 6 because you did roll a 19.
So while he's doing this, I'm configuring my net to make some sort of catch trap that I'm going to throw in and pull in.
Okay, give me an intelligence check for that.
Alexander, it's fine. Just put your hands in. You're gonna be fine.
That's a
Gelmir's
13.
Like, right.
It's a 13, you know.
Sure, you fashioned something you think will work.
And then I throw it in to try to catch some clams.
Is there any chance that any of you are being stealthy in all this shit?
No, there's zero.
No.
Okay, I'm just checking. Just in
Heavily
case.
distracted.
I am
Okay,
stealth.
that's fair. And Rahi's in the middle of the cavern watching you two at the edge of the water and watching Tyr and Wintrude over by the pathway at the edge of the cavern.
So
Right.
for that backpack, you said it's old and worn. Is there any chance of it being damaged?
Yeah, it is damaged. It's got some tears in it, some holes in it.
Do the tears appear to be from like, walking?
Give me a
through-
nature check as you examine the damage.
All right. 20. Filthy 20.
Something with very large fangs punctured this backpack. The 2 holes that you spot are about 5 inches around. And you can see residue of dried poison on
Like-
the edges of the holes.
5-inch circumference?
Yes.
So big fucking teeth
Maybe teeth.
or something. Yeah, so I'm gonna tell Wintrude. Yeah, there's something around here. Be careful.
Yeah, I'm not being stealthy because my goal is to catch more than he did. So my whole goal is to catch more than 4 in my net. You know, I'm like, outside competition.
How far away?
Yeah.
How far away are
Going a second
Gelmir and
time.
Alex? Like
I
from us?
say so. Gelmir and Alex are near the edge of the pool, in the middle of the cavern. So from you and Wintrude, they're about 100 feet away. From Rahi's about 50 feet away from you, and Rahi's about 50 feet away from where Alex and Gelmir are examining the pool. And they seem to be gathering stuff from the pool as well, or at least attempting to, as far as I can tell.
I was gonna go back to the footpath and then see if I can find any traces of animal prints or like
Yeah, give me
around
a
the
survival-
path or
yeah.
like maybe in the rough.
Yeah, give me a survival check as you begin to look around, see if you can find anything.
That's a 19.
19. You find what looks to be very strange looking prints. They don't have symmetry, so it's hard to know for sure what kind of prints they might be, but they appear, but they don't have, like, they're not connected to something moving. It's like you walk over and then there's these like hand size strange prints, and there's about 8 of them, but then you don't see them move anywhere, but you move around to another part of the cavern and you can see the prints again, and then you can see them again. It's very weird. You're not really sure what's making it, but there's definitely some kind of creature prints here.
Kind of like, does it look like a snake would leave, like a dragon or something?
It's almost like something very large was standing there and then disappeared.
Okay.
Oh, there's something that just kind of appears and disappears. There's a mark here. There's one over there. None of it connects. Like something's walking around or running or moving or anything. Like it's. Oh no. Let's just take a second and
Richard, I'm trying to focus. Can you stop blabbering?
Wow.
Gelmir, can you hear what he's
Absolutely
talking about?
not.
Can you hear what he's
Wait,
talking about? I don't know what he's saying.
I don't know. She's talking about some prince. I don't know who prince of something.
You want to go check it out while
While
No.
Wintrude is going on, I want to cast Minor Illusion in the air, like between us, just to make like big letters, quiet, danger.
Okay, that's fair. Alexander, give me a sleight of hand.
What? Okay, fine.
What?
Oh! 21, baby.
21.
Catching
So as
these
you
clams.
cast out your kind of like quickly fashioned net into the middle of the pool of water, right? You watch as it sink, and then you feel it hit the bottom because it's only a foot deep. So you feel it hit the bottom, and you start pulling in on it. And as you pull in on it and you pull it onto the embankment, there's at least 10 clamshells gathered up inside of it.
I immediately take the clamshells with the net like wrapped, and I just throw it in my backpack.
All right, give me a con save as you touch the clams.
No, I touch the net, and I put the net in my backpack.
All right. I'll let it go, but the clams are the net, but that's fine. I'll say that you grab the net at the top knot, that you tie it off, and then you drop it into the top of your backpack. So you're
Because
good.
he's
So
never going to have to get his hands on them to pry them open to see if they can throw them. That's the thing, right?
It's not about what's in the clams. It's about taking the clams from Gelmir.
We can boil them to open them up.
So Gelmir, are you continuing to scoop up more clams? Or
Yeah, no, I reach back in. I go.
Okay, give
for a
me
second round.
2 more con saves to gather up a remaining amount of clams.
That is a 13 and a 21.
All right, so the 13 will fail, so you take 12 points of cold damage from the first attempt. The second attempt will succeed, so you gather up 8 more clamshells and toss them into the hole. But you also take half of 12 points of cold damage, so another 6
Take it.
points of cold damage. And I would say you're beginning to
you
suffer
got- you got
you're
10?
beginning to suffer frostbite at this point.
Alexander, you got like 10 of them. I got so many more than 10 of them. Is everyone else really cold? It's so cold.
You did good, Gelmir. You did good.
I know. I did real good. It's so,
Did
so
that book help you? Because I still don't believe the book does anything. I think he's
No.
like it's like the placebo effect. I'm like, oh,
Yeah,
did the
I
book
mean-
help you?
No, it's a garbage book. I don't know why I keep it. Wintrude doesn't know what she's talking about. Books suck.
I'm glad you appreciate the gift that I gave you.
I'll cherish it forever.
Okay.
All right, so with that, I've got Alexander and Gelmir finishing up their activities at the pond. Rintrude is trying to figure out what's making these marks. Rahi's keeping an eye on things. And Tyr is finishing examining the backpack. Let's go ahead and take our 5-minute break, and then we'll be right back.
Okay.
Cool.
All right, we are back. We'll wait for Alex and Tyr and Rahi.
Were we all supposed to get beanies? Did I miss that?
Oh, I don't have the heater on in my studio right now, so it's cold. And since I'm basically going to be wearing my headset for like 8 hours today, it helps cut down on it bruising my scalp.
I'm here. I'll be right back though.
No worries.
I can put my cat around my head.
You did what?
I could put my cat around my head, maybe. This is the other one. Now the other one is begging to be in here.
Now Zach's gonna put on.
Oh, this group. This group, it's killing me, dude. This group is killing me.
Hey, when did Rob say he wanted to do his one shot? Do you remember, Chris?
I thought it was like the 14th, around the 14th.
That's what I was thinking too.
Yeah.
I really hope it still is the morning of the 14th. I'll have to hit him up on Monday.
I keep tracking. I keep checking by the old Age of Empire section.
Yeah.
In our channel to see if he's posted anything, but
yeah,
get the band back together. In that sense.
So just waiting on Alex and Tyr, and we'll get started. Oh, yeah, I had to reset my printer, my 3D printer. I was working on a printing project for today.
Was it individual figures, or was it more like
you know what? I have so many minis now. I just print terrain because to me that's what I need the most. Is like I want to build more ready-made battle boards that are just ready to go, you know. So I've just been printing out terrain on a regular basis. Right now I'm building these ruined wall sets to build some terrain pieces, and I'll show you the new trees I made.
Terrain can get like so expensive so quick.
Not if you build it yourself though. That's the crazy part. Like, here are the new trees that I've made.
That's pretty cool.
So that's a 3D print, and then I had I had found at a garage sale this clump grass as part of somebody's train set, and I picked it all up, and then I had some flocking grass, you know, and so now it's going to become a part of, like, you know, a movable terrain piece that I can place for my battle cam. So, you know, I'm not going to give up on Tailspire, but I really do enjoy doing the battle cam stuff because sometimes I feel like that dimensional, like, viewpoint of when we have encounters can be a little bit more immersive than Tailspire. Right. You know what I mean?
Right.
Like, Tailspire can be more reactive in the sense I could build lots of stuff super fast. But I feel like if it's a really focused, long, like this encounter that really takes a lot of, you know, immersion, I always prefer to do a model setup because it just makes it feel more like we're in the room together.
Yeah, I mean, who doesn't look
I think if Tailspire had a version for less money for, like, the players, and then a version maybe like more money for DMs.
They don't have a version. They do have a version. So, like, if everybody bought Tailspire, we could play, you know, in their what they call their campaign mode, and you'd be able to move the figure yourself and stuff like that. But the problem is the performance declines because not everyone has a good rig. So, you know, if Rahi and Tyr don't have a good enough rig like I do, and maybe someone else's rig is even better than mine, the system tries to even out the performance as best as it can, but it's a lot more buggy in the shared mode than if I just use it as the presentation mode.
No,
it's
yeah. I would say
less
price-wise, though. Like, if they had a player price and then a DM
well,
price.
I mean, $21 isn't that big of a price. That's all it costs.
Yeah, I mean, it is when...
And it's a one-time fee.
So, Storyteller, I think you should just make models for all of us and just mail them to us each week so we have our own physical models in front of us.
So, but for Tailspire, you bought
good
ours,
night,
right?
We'll see you next week.
For Tailspire, you bought or used the credits for our models, right?
Well, yeah, because I have a Hero Forge key
Right.
that allows me to download the digital files into Tailspire. Well, it's not that I download it. The Hero Forge key that I put into Tailspire allows all the digital files that sit out in Hero Forge to automatically integrate into Tailspire.
Right.
Plus, I have access. Like, I've now integrated, like, 25 packs of what they allow, even for free. So don't get me wrong, Tailspire by far is the easiest way to do remote, encounters. But I don't want it to feel the same all the time. I want it to feel immersive, like we're in the studios together versus, just using the Tailspire piece. So, all right. So back at it. We're in this bioluminescent cavern. There's both luminescent creatures, insects, rock surfaces. We found the path that seems to skirt the edge of the cavern deep into the cavern itself. That might be the path that people are using to make their way through here. But I've got Alexander and Gelmir at the edge of the cavern pool, gathering up the last of clamshells and mollusks that they discovered in the pool, while Tyr and Wintrude are over by the path. Wintrude has discovered strange footprints, and meanwhile, Rahi's just kind of standing there. She's just kind of keeping an eye on everything that's going on as best as she can. What would you guys like to do?
I guess I'll head over to the group now that all the clams are picked up.
I immediately looked at Tyr and I'm like, Tyr, looks like you've been tracking where we need to go. Point me in the direction.
Path's over here to the right. But
I start walking that way.
Wait, don't start just walking in the caverns. There's some sort of creature here.
It's okay.
No, just listen. Whatever killed the owner of that backpack, because there's huge 5-inch gaping holes in it,
has
and
already
some poison around.
So we're okay.
But though there's tracks that are rather
And just as Wintrude points that out, there's a flash of light from behind some rocks. You can't quite see what it is, but it's like an echo of light about 50 feet away behind some rocks. And then you notice there's an explosion of luminescent insects that kind of flutter off into different directions. There's a strange kind of like ozone smell, like something arcane just occurred. And then the light just kind of fades. The luminescent insects kind of puff off like they're just like flakes of dust in the different directions.
Yeah, looks like it's telling us to go that way, Wintrude.
Yeah, we got to move fast, guys. The more we stand here and talk, Wintrude, I'm looking directly at you. We are going to get ourselves into trouble. Tyr,
yeah.
Anything I need to be aware of?
Focus. Let's go.
But I just said what to be aware of, and did you see what just happened over there? Okay, fine. Let's go. Let's go.
And I guys are continuing to follow the path.
Yeah, but
as
soon as I get to like the end of to the next room, I start really inspecting the surroundings because now I'm scared about the stinger thing again. So I'm really kind of paying attention to, especially small creatures.
So same lineup: Alexander in the lead, Gelmir, Tyr, Rahi, then Wintrude.
No, actually, I tried to walk off ahead of everybody.
Okay.
You want to be in front, Wintrude?
I think it best.
Okay, well, put me behind Wintrude.
Oh my God, that's totally your dog, isn't it, Zach?
Yeah.
Feel like one of those rubber newspapers for sure.
When I'm following behind Wintrude, I'm so close to Wintrude, it's almost making him uncomfortable. If it is already making her uncomfortable, I'm like right on her,
Fair.
That's like that Trump Hillary Clinton debate, like that one where he was like stalking behind her, like on the floor.
So
and I'm like peeking over each shoulder, like, yeah, did you see anything? Do you see anything? Do you see it?
So as you guys begin to follow this path, you realize it's a continuous cavern with lots of different tunnels that seem to be naturally occurring off in different directions. And the cavern gets deeper and deeper. It's still very much bioluminescent. You leave the shallow pool behind after a while, and there's stalagmites, stalactites everywhere. Every now and then dripping water. Off to your left, you can see like a large, like 8-foot-long worm-like creature. It seems to be just coiled up around a rock, and it's like undulating and pulsing with its bioluminescence. Right next to it, there's an explosion of light. And as the light explodes, you watch all of these luminescent creatures come into existence. And then you look as this huge crystalline spider just latches onto the bioluminescent worm, digs its fangs deep into it, and then it disappears.
I whisper
This is
into
when we die.
Winter's ear, like really close to her ear, and I'm like, quiet! And then I go like stealth. I am now walking in
So
stealth.
everybody
mode.
give me stealth checks if you're trying to be stealthy at this point.
Fuck yeah. I am
We say fuck yeah.
Fuck yeah, we're in stealth mode.
Here's like fuck yeah. I shit stealth bubbles.
filthy 20.
What'd you get, Tyr?
Filthy 20.
Nice.
17.
Okay.
I can hardly be bothered, but I succumb to pure pressure. 7.
Okay.
8.
Oh,
I am
that's
stealth.
okay. Winter
13.
13. So
Not great.
I would say the group's doing their best. By far. They're definitely doing their best.
Plus, I got this guy breathing down the top of my head. You know,
Unfortunately, Alexander's being a little too loud while trying to get you to be cautious. Rahi, you can literally hear her feet drag. Like, she's not picking up her feet. She's, like, dragging her toes through the gravel footpath. That's just kind of scraping as she's kind of shuffling as best she can to keep up with the group. At that point, right along the 5 of you on this trail, there's an explosion of light. And you watch as this crystalline spider appears. And as it appears, I'm going to say, Rahi, since you were the noisiest out of the group, it attempts to like lash its fangs and grapple you at the same time. So it's going to make a surprise attack on you, Rahi. That is going to be a 16.
That just misses.
Okay. It's also going to attempt to grapple you with its first 4 of its arachnid crystalline legs. So go ahead and give me athletics or acrobatics, your choice.
I got a nat 1 for a total of 12. So
Still beats my 11. So
yeah.
like, it's like you guys watch as with Rahi as she's near the midsection of the lineup of all of you taking this pathway, this crystalline spider just kind of like phases into existence. You watch as all the bioluminescent residue kind of like bursts out into the air. This spider tries to bite Rahi and grab onto her. At the last minute, she manages to kick it away in the crystal abdomen, and you hear a cracking noise. As it tumbles backwards, there's a flash of light as it disappears.
Hopefully it will consider us too difficult to be prey now.
Right,
It
Yeah,
is
right. Are you going to turn into a bug?
doubtful.
I don't like that answer.
I'll give you a heads up if I do. I'm sure
So,
you'll figure it out anyway.
just out of curiosity, then, it's not magic when it's like when it disappears or like moves invisibly or anything like I can track, right?
Give me an Arcana check as you try
Because I
to
was just
figure
wondering
out.
if like with Devil's Sight, if that does anything.
Give me an Arcana check.
That's a 15.
That sounds like
Looking
battle
at where it was, like seeing where it disappeared, and the fact you can't see it anymore, you get the feeling that it's phasing. It's jumping in and out of another plane of existence.
Oh yeah, okay, switching like
hell?
into ethereal back into the material, ethereal. into
Possibly,
material.
yeah.
Okay.
That's what it feels like. You're with everybody's skill set for being able to see things. The fact that at least 1 or 2 of you cannot see it after it disappears tells you there's definitely something strange about it. And it's not
There you go.
invisibility.
Where's the spider?
Hey, so I mean, Rahi, not like as a punishment, do you think like it's a good idea maybe to hold hands and proceed like in a circle or make ourselves look like a large sort of monster creature thing? Like in a circle and we proceed that way?
Perhaps like just going in a line, having a hand on the person in front's shoulder, perhaps I'm not
Or-
sure how this teleportation thing works.
Hear me out. And then I'm going to activate my boots of speed and sprint. And
Give me stealth with disadvantage, Gelmirs. as you do
Hear
that.
me out and bolt away from all of us.
oh, that's actually really good. With
That's with
disadvantage,
disadvantage, yeah.
22. I rolled a 14 and a 19.
Nice.
Yeah.
So, are you just sprinting up the pathway as you could see it in front of you that you're still on?
Yeah, I am like full speed. What is that? Like 70 speed right now.
Yeah.
doubled
Right.
to 140. Yeah.
Gelmir is a silent blur. Like he's there 1 minute, like about to go into a long-winded speech, like he normally does, and then he's gone. Like he's just a blur, and you can see the bioluminescent trail that he leaves as he kind of like skitters up the pathway. Right?
Oh no, the spider got him. Whatever shall we do?
I can't keep certain members from just trying to kill themselves. I can't.
I immediately I look at everybody and I smile, and then I with like a weird grin, and I start running that direction as well.
Okay. Give me deception with this, or give me stealth with disadvantage.
I already have disadvantage.
Well, there you go. Give me stealth.
Double disadvantage.
So Gelmir sprinted off first.
12.
All right, and Alexander's sprinting off next. As soon as Alexander starts sprinting, he's running and following the luminescent trail that Gelmir has left behind.
Here we go.
As soon as he gets like 20 feet forward, a spider appears into existence. Alexander, give me a dex save as you go sprinting by the spider.
Like a saving throw or just dex?
Dex save. Yeah, dex save.
It's a save, yeah.
Not a check.
That was a natural 1 for a 3 total.
Okay, so as you're sprinting, you just feel this like these crystalline legs lash out at you like they're trying to grab you. You take 4 points of slashing damage as you feel one of the legs kind of like scrape across your neck and your shoulder and your face. Give me acrobatics or athletics to prevent from being grappled by one of these creatures.
That
I
is
like how the
15.
80-year-old woman.
Oh my god, I fucking can't roll. We're fucked tonight.
It's a 15.
15, yeah. As soon as it realizes it can't grab onto you because you're just hauling ass up the pathway, it phases out and disappears.
I drink another potion of healing, and I continue to bolt.
Okay, that's good. Who wants to go next? And who's doing what? So at this point,
Christ.
Tyr, Rahi, and Wintrud, both Gelmir and Alexander are just sprinting up the pathway deeper into the cavern.
I follow afterward. I'm not even bothering to be stealthy at all. In
fair.
fact, I'm even stomping a little bit.
Okay.
But what I am trying to do is I guess I'm readying an action, basically to try and grapple anything that tries to appear in my vicinity.
Okay. So as you're the third one, you're heavily just stomping, and you're not sprinting, but you're running to try to keep pace where you can see Alexander's maybe about 30 feet in front of you. You've lost sight of Gelmir because he's so fast. He's like way up front. And Tyr and Wintrud are behind you. And as you're stomping forward, off to your left, an explosion of light. But because you were ready for it and purposely keeping an eye out for it as a reaction, it appears right next to you. Its long crystalline spider-like legs are about to like go towards you, but you react. Go ahead and give me athletics or acrobatics.
25.
25. You reach out and you actually grab one of the legs, and there's a snapping sound as the crystalline leg is just like broken off, immediately
Nice.
causing the spider to phase out. Explosion of light, and it disappears. You're holding this like 2-foot long piece of this crystalline spider leg as you continue to tromp forward. Tyr and Wintrud, what are you doing?
I'm I'm gonna occupy, like I'm gonna hide in Rahi's space and ready
Okay.
and ready an Eldritch Blast. Like if it
So give me
pops up
stealth
again.
with disadvantage if you're trying to keep pace with Rahi, because even though she's not sprinting, she's
I'm not trying
moving
to stay-
quickly.
Oh, yeah, I guess. Okay, stealth with disadvantage. So.
Now, are there any conditions that would give you normal advantage on stealth?
Not
Because
that
if there is, then you would take a regular stealth check.
No, the thing being is I was no evasion, no. I was going back through all my features and I don't see anything that would.
I'm going
So-
to.
I mean, you were already sneaking, right? With that.
Yeah, but the problem is if she's gonna keep pace with Rahi,
Oh,
it's gonna make it harder for her to be stealthy.
The only thing I can think of is with like halfling nimbleness, there's a thing of like hiding in somebody else's space is the only thing.
Right,
But,
which would give you advantage.
but
but
Rahi
because you're
continues to
keeping
move.
right, but because
That's
she's
why.
already moving.
Yeah, so it's a disadvantage roll.
Yeah.
So let me see what happens here.
I'm going to pocket the leg. Well, just stuff it in my backpack and prepare for the spider to appear again.
Okay.
With disadvantage to 19. That was 11 plus 8.
That's what I'm saying. 11 plus 26 with disadvantage. So I would say as you're hiding amongst Rahi's legs, you just watched as that one crystalline spider came into existence. She broke off one of its legs as it attempted to attack her. But as you're keeping pace, you're able to keep pace. Nothing else pops into existence. So the two of you are pacing with each other. Tyr, you're now left behind at this point. What are you doing as you're watching everybody sprinting up the footpath?
if I keep moving stealthily, can I maintain my first stealth roll, or do I have to re-roll stealth again?
Once you start moving up that footpath, you're going to have to stealth again. But what's going to affect that is whether you're sprinting and running or being cautious. Now,
I'm
being cautious
being
means you're going to be
cautious.
moving a lot slower than everybody
Mhm.
else.
I'm gonna sprint and I'm
Okay.
gonna ready a misty step if something.
Nice. So give me a
Appears in
stealth
front of
check
me.
with disadvantage as you're now sprinting.
Okay. The first one was a nat 20. The
Nice.
second one is 16.
That's still pretty good.
Dang.
Not quite good enough to not be hurt. So as you're bringing up the rear, you're like, you've got about 15 feet in front of you is Wintrude, and there's a flash as one of the spiders come into existence. Not the same one because its leg's not broken. So there might be multiple of these spiders in this cavern. And with each appearance, bioluminescence like sheds off of them, and you watch as flying creatures like these little insects sprout away, and then like these little creepy crawlers like fall to the ground when they phase in. But you're kind of ready, and as soon as you see it, you misty step as a reaction. So you get
See ya.
dex save with advantage because you're doing that. So give me a dex save
Oh,
with
sweet.
advantage.
All right. 26.
Nice. So Richard, as you're amongst Ronnie's legs,
I'll smell you later,
in-
sucker.
like 40 feet in front of you, right behind Alexander, is Tyr. He just like blurs right by you. And as the two of you look over your shoulder to see where he came from, you watch as a spider phases out. It disappears. Gelmir, you're at the lead. As you're looking forward, it looks like this footpath goes on for a while so far. From what you can tell, it's hard to see an edge. It's bioluminescent still everywhere. The footpath continues along the edge of this cavern. It's got to go somewhere as you look around. It feels like it's got to go somewhere.
The cavern.
But you're in the lead. Behind you is Alexander and Tyr, about 30 feet behind you. And as they were running to keep up with you, every now and then these spiders flashed into existence and lashed out at them. And so it's almost like as you guys are making noise as you move, it seems to be causing these creatures to react somehow. You're not really sure how. but it is.
You said when it phased in that bugs fell off of it. It's like
Yeah,
darkness.
yeah.
I think they're underground.
I think we all are.
No. I think they're like in below the floor or something like.
So at this point, I'm pretty far ahead of everyone, right?
You're about 40 feet ahead of everyone because your boots of speed are active.
Because I'm moving 140 feet around.
Right. I'd put you. Then you know what? I'm going to put you 100 feet ahead of everybody. Yeah, you're like at the you're just sprinting full tilt. So give me another stealth check with disadvantage since you are sprinting.
I'll yell back to the group. It was great working with you guys. I'll remember you forever, and I'll make sure to release the rest of the 7 because I'm pretty sure that's what we're doing. Oh no, that's a 10.
Okay, give me 2 deck saves with advantage because of your boots.
Okay, so the first one is a natural 1.
Okay,
For a total of 9, and the second one is a natural 2 for a total of 10.
Okay, so as you yell that back and you continue your sprint, 2 of these crystalline spiders appear off to your side. And they both lash out at you. You feel numerous legs slice against your face, your arm, your shoulder. The lacerations are opening up on you. The first one causes 5 points of slashing damage. And then the next one causes 7 points of slashing damage.
If possible, I would want to turn into the gaseous form after the first one attacks me as my action, or I guess my reaction.
I would say because you're sprinting with your active boots, it would be a little bit hard for you to do that right off the bat. I will let you do that after the second one slashes you so you can avoid being grappled.
Okay.
Otherwise, you got to make 2 strength athletic checks to avoid, or athletic acrobatic to avoid being grappled.
I'll do that.
So that'll allow you to avoid that at least. Okay.
And then I'll continue moving, I guess.
Yeah.
But now I'm a lot slower.
Yeah, you're now gaseous, and your stealth is like probably ridiculous now because of that. Alexander's somewhere about 100 feet in front of you. There are 2 flashes of light. You thought you saw Gelmir there for a moment, and now you don't see Gelmir, and then you see 2 more flashes of light as the spiders phase out at the moment that they're unable to get them.
Can I ready lightning lure as I'm running to effectively try to grapple one of these spiders the next time it pops out?
Yeah, absolutely.
It's a 10 feet 15 feet, 15 feet distance.
So as you're sprinting, Rahi's and Wintrude are right behind you. They're about 30 feet behind you. Right 5-10 feet behind you is Tyr. Like, he wasn't there a moment ago, and then bam, he's there, right? And now you're checking along, you're readying a reaction. So you're not trying to be stealthy at all at this point, right?
No.
Okay. Sure enough, off to your left, another flash. As the spider reappears about 10 feet off to your left. And because you already had lightning lure ready to go, you lash out at the creature with it. Is that to roll to hit, or do I need to make a save?
It's a 17 strength save.
Okay. Well, that's a good one. No, that fails completely. Your lightning lure just kind of like slams into the crystalline spider.
Okay, so it's 2d8, and then it will pull it towards me 5 feet. Within 5 feet, so it'll pull it 10 feet or however far.
All right.
It does 4 damage.
4 damage. It's like as soon as you.
Oh wait, do I increase it to the? Sorry, do I increase it to? It says 5th level. Oh yeah, no, it's correct. Never mind. It's 4 damage.
Okay. So like your lightning lure slams into it. It kind of like the energy sprouts around its legs and body. It pulls it towards you within 5 feet of you. You watch as crystalline structures of its form break and crack away from its form. At the moment that it's within 5 feet of you, you feel the lightning lure fade as the creature phases out, as it realizes it can't get at you. And you're continuing up the footpath at this point.
Yeah, I just continue ready it as much as I possibly can.
Rahi, you and Wintrude are. Oh no, actually, I got to move Tyr up now.
Tyr.
Wintrude and Rahi are behind you. You've lost sight of Gelmir. You have no idea where he is. Alexander just lightning lured one of the spiders and kept it from attacking him. And he's still sprinting up the pathway, just realizing that this is just some kind of gauntlet that everybody's got to get through. What do you want to do?
The lightning lured spiders, it's like still there, or did it phase out?
It phased out again. It's like, I'll say this much because it's happened multiple times. It's like they phase in, they shed like bioluminescent organics. They make a single attack, and then they phase out. You feel like this is some kind of instinctual thing that they do.
Okay.
But you're not sure where they're coming from or where they're going. You just know maybe it's the noise everybody's making, or maybe you're in their like general hunting area. You're not really sure. But Gelmir's long gone. You have no idea where Gelmir is, as far as you can tell. Alexander just fended off one, and he's still sprinting, while Wintrude and Rahi are grouped together. Rahi can't move very fast. So she's about 30 feet behind, with Wintrude like in amongst her legs, like using Rahi for cover. Where this pathway ends, you're not entirely sure yet.
Okay. Would I be able to use my boots of levitation and just like move forward?
Absolutely.
Sweet.
You
Yeah.
invoke your boots. You're not as fast as you were before, but you feel the kind of levitation effect kicks in. So I'm going to say that I don't even need stealth. Well, no, I'll still give me stealth with advantage, even though because you're no longer sprinting, but you're levitating. So give
Okay.
me a stealth check with advantage.
It might not be making enough noise. Then they might not attack him.
23.
Okay. Good to know. That'll last you for a bit. So Wintrude and Rahi from behind, about 60 or 70 feet forward, you saw Alexander fend off one of the spiders. You've lost track of Gelmir. You just watched his tear slow down a bit. He did something that invoked, he did something. And instead of sprinting, he's now floating above the surface of the footpath a few feet and quietly just kind of floating forward.
Mm-hmm.
You two are now at the end of the line. So Rahi and Wintrude, what are you doing? Clearly you feel like your noise is beginning to trigger these spiders.
I'm not really bothering to be stealthy anymore.
Okay.
I actually want to try and catch one of these things.
So at one point, Rahi, as you're tromping along, there's another flash. It's a different spider this time because it has all of its appendages. Go ahead and give me a dex save with disadvantage because you're purposely allowing this thing to strike you almost.
Well, no, I'm not trying to allow it to strike me.
Okay, so you're
I'm
still being defensive.
Yeah.
So give me a normal dex save. That's fine.
I rolled a 6 for the first one.
It lashes out at you, doing 4 points of slashing damage. As your reaction, you want to try to grapple it again.
Yes.
Okay, give me athletics or acrobatics, your choice.
16.
Oof. Beat my 14. So as you reach out, you grab onto 2 more of the legs. Now, the last time you did this, they broke off. Do you want to try something different to capture it?
I'm going to try and wrap my hands around its abdomen, sort of that thin part.
Okay. So as you reach out, you begin to pull it in towards you. It's a medium-sized creature. It's maybe about 5 feet long, and maybe about 4 feet in diameter, right? So you grab it, you pull it in towards you, and you've got it grappled into your chest. You look down, it's like 6-inch long by 5-inch around crystalline fangs are like kind of like clacking up into your face, but it can't quite reach you because you've got it centered like down in your chest. So for now, you've got it grappled as you're running along. Wintrude is at your feet. Wintrude, as you look up, you watch as Rocky has grappled one of these spiders, is holding it, and as best she can, she's moving forward as fast as she can, but she's now slowed down because she's got to maintain that grapple. So rather than the 30 feet, she's only moving 15 feet at this point.
I would break stealth and
Stab
whip
it.
out that dagger, the lightning dagger, and
Okay.
into what's that called? Into the abdomen part, the back part, which the
Okay, go ahead and give me attack roll with advantage. It is grappled.
Woo!
Yeah, you can give me attack roll with advantage. I'm okay with that.
Ooh, it gives you sneak attack, right?
Yeah. It does.
Oh, crap. Dang, it's going to be 15.
15 will just hit. Go ahead and roll damage.
15 to hit. With sneak attack, then? Does that count? Because it's
Yep.
a finesse weapon. The dagger's finesse.
Yep, it does.
Holy shnikey.
This is gonna
You
be.
should have been doing stabbing
This-
stuff.
All right, let me
This is
see
gonna
what
be fun.
let me see what happens because I got all these dice. Okay, so the lightning damage part is 8. 13 lightning damage,
Okay.
2 piercing damage.
Okay. Here comes the sneak attack damage.
And then-
It's like
and
paladin damage.
10 sneak attack damage.
Really? You must have rolled like shit.
There's 1s and 2s all littered all throughout this.
So, right, as you're trudging along with this thing, you feel something strike it from below. And you look down to see Wintrude jam her dagger up into its abdomen. And as she does, the crystalline structure begins to crack and kind of crease a little bit from the impact of the attack. It's still struggling in your arms. It still seems to be alive. But after she strikes it, there's like a puff of crystalline rock and powder. And it gets on you and it gets on Wintrude. And the two of you are kind of like glowing now as you're covered in like this weird crystal residue from striking it. I think you still have another attack though, Wintrude, right? You get 2 attacks? Because you're at 9th level now, right?
This is with actions, it's only 1 attack per action, according
Really?
to my.
Oh, that's right, because you double dipped. You multi-class. That's right.
Yeah.
So, 3rd round of this, as you guys are going through this gauntlet, Gelmir, you're at the very lead element at this time. You're now in gaseous form. You're now near the end of the footpath because you were moving fastest already. And sure enough, at the end of the footpath is this massive rope bridge that spans this huge chasm, from what you can tell. Oh, did I lose Tyr? Let me
We
bring him
lost
back.
here.
I think he hotkeyed something.
I accidentally pressed on the move from stream.
He quit. He's
So,
out.
you finally get to the end of this luminescent cavern, right? And now you can see a 20-foot tunnel in front of you that ends in a rope bridge. And this rope bridge looks like it goes 200 feet across this chasm. And it's this another just bottomless chasm below you. And then as you sit there looking, you look like your gaseous form as you take a look behind you. Alexander is like maybe a good 100 feet behind you. You can see Tyr maybe right behind him. Hard to tell. But you've lost track of Wintrude and Rahi at this point. What do you want to do, Gelmir? As you look like you're at the end of this cavern, you're out of the main body of the cavern at this point.
So how wide is like this entrance or exit to this?
It's about 8 feet wide and maybe about 7 feet tall.
So I'll go ahead and drop gaseous form at the edge of it.
Okay.
And then I want to use my action to roll out the portable hole onto the floor,
Okay.
like at the exit of this cavern.
Okay.
And I want to try and like in the darkest spot I can see, so that it's like nobody else can see that it's there.
All right. Give me a deception check to see how well you can hide it.
That's a natural 1 for a total.
What is with these rolls?
1.
1. Okay. So you pull out the portable hole, you lay it down. Alexander, as you're still sprinting, you can see Gelmir has returned back to. Well, you're not even sure what originally happened to him, but you could see like Gelmir's now at the exit. You can see the end of this cavern finally, and for whatever reason, you don't know why he's doing it. He's pulled out his portable hole and he's laid it out, but you can see where he put it. It's like it's like obvious where he's put it.
Yeah. I'm debating whether or not to jump in or continue to run across. I see the bridge, I see the hole, I understand what he's doing, and I jump into the hole. And I also give a prime sub.
Yeah, I saw that. Thank you. I just didn't have my alerts
That's a
on.
killer multitasking, bro.
Yeah, I know. I appreciate that.
Yeah, I jump into the hole.
Okay.
Oh, yeah.
So, Gelmir, as you're being sneaky and putting this hole out, there's just a blur of a tiefling that just kind of got a big white toothy smile, comes off the footpath and leaps into the hole.
So I'll just for role play,
Yeah.
I'll kind of dip my head into the hole and just be like, if you steal anything, you'll never make it out of there alive.
Of course I won't. Of course I won't. I would never. I would never.
He's all fool me once, shame on me, fool me twice.
Because I don't know if Gelmir ever actually knew that Alex took the dragon scale.
Yeah, that's fair. So Tyr, you're sprinting along. You're just like, you can finally see the end of the cavern. None of the spiders have come back yet because you're levitating, so you don't think you've triggered any noise for them to come back. But the last moment, you saw that Alexander was getting near where Gelmir was, and it looked like Gelmir was putting something on the ground, and then Alexander disappeared. Like he jumped into something, or maybe fell into something. You're not entirely sure what happened.
Or maybe he phased like the spider.
Right.
He turned into a bug. I knew it.
But I'm reaching with them. How far away are the guys behind me?
I would say they've slowed down a bit because Rahi has this crystalline spider like lashed into her arms as Wintrude is at her feet, like jabbing at it with a dagger in its abdomen. But they're easy to see now because they're covered in like crystal dust of the spider. So they're like bright pink and blue and yellow and white and luminescent shards of crystal on their body. And
How
they're
far?
maybe about 50, 60 feet away from you.
Okay.
Are you
Okay.
saying maybe our stealth rolls became more complicated? Or
You're just glowy.
maybe.
Just a little
I was gonna
glowy.
say if I could take a shot with my hand crossbow, and if the momentum would propel me towards the end, if I shoot at.
I mean, E equals MC squared isn't totally improbable. I would say you turn
Your
around
fire
and you're gonna take a
extinguisher.
shot at the crystalline spider that Rahi's holding.
Hmm.
Yeah, go for it. See
And
if you hit
then-
it.
I guess it would be with advantage, but disadvantage if they're 50 feet away because of the range.
I would
Right.
say the crystalline. I would say they're all three lit up, so that'd give you advantage. But because they're further away than 50 feet, so it's a regular roll for you.
But I'm also levitating. That I don't know how that works.
Not enough height.
Okay.
Yeah, you'd have to
All
be much higher. And levitation, I think, is limited to between 2 and 5 feet. of height.
21.
21, that'll definitely hit. So, Rahi, as you're carrying this spider, you hear this cracking noise. And you look down and see a crossbow bolt is now sticking out of the abdomen of the spider. Go ahead and roll damage. Tyr.
7 damage.
7.
Nice.
Nice.
I was thinking
Let's
about
get another puff of crystalline dust and shards kind of spray out from the creature. But Rahi still has it at this point. Tyr, you make it to the edge of the pathway, and there's Gelmir with his portable hole open right in front of the tunnel entrance.
hmm I'm just gonna like slowly like lower into the hole and then raise myself up. Like this.
Like elevator.
Stop playing with my hole. That's not what I'm saying.
Oh no! Say it ain't so, Gelmir. So at this point, unfortunately, Wintrude and Rahi, you got to survive one more round of the gauntlet because you're moving slower. So once again, as you're getting near the end of the footpath, 2 more of those phase spiders come into existence. Rahi, deck save, and Wintrude, deck save, please. See if you take any damage from them lashing at you.
Deck safe.
Yep.
I feel you. I've been there.
That's a 18.
18, that's good.
Set
Rahi?
the third one today. Not one.
Yeah, what is with all the ones, man?
So I need you to make a concentration save to try to hold on to the spider. That nat
Con?
one, that's a significant failure. So just give me a Constitution save to see if you can concentrate on holding on to the spider.
13.
All right, that's fine because it's a 10 or higher, just like taking damage from a spell cast. So you're good on that. So you're still holding on to it, but you take 4 points of slashing damage as the spider like slaps against your face and shoulder with its Wintrude. You'll take half of 4 points of damage as the other one slashes at you, but you manage to duck around it.
Yeah, so this, we were speaking of features and traits earlier. I think with
Yep.
evasion, I avoid the damage completely.
Correct, because you were successful in your save.
Yeah.
Yep.
so-
Okay, so you're good. And with your successful deck save, it's unable to try to latch on you. So that first one, like, phases out as soon as it can't latch onto you. The second one, however, including the one that Rahi's holding, the one that you're holding, Rahi, is attempting to break your grapple. Do you want to continue to hold on to the creature?
I'm holding
Throw
on
it into
for
the hole.
I'm holding on to it for study. So
Okay, so give me athletics or acrobatics. It's going to try to break the grapple.
As we've learned by now, Rahi always will hold on to these creatures.
Wait, how
not
far away?
necessarily when I
Well, you're
roll
in the
another
hole now,
nat
so
one.
you can't do anything, Tyr, because you and Alexander are down into the portable hole, so you
Oh,
can't
no,
no
I
longer
was like-
see.
I don't want to be inside the hole fully, but just like levitating like up and down where I can still see.
All right, that's fine. Do you want to give him advantage? Her advantage?
I was in the
Or
how far
Bardic
away are they?
Inspiration? Are you
Yes. I
Bardic?
do.
What's your
Yeah.
range on Bardic? 60 feet or 30 feet?
60 feet.
I'd say she's just in range. Because she's
Okay.
coming off the footpath and she's just in range. So, Rahi, you have a D8 now, I think, inspiration.
You can do it.
There's like this creepy Tyr's head floats up. You could do it. And then it floats back down into something.
You
Hard
can
to tell.
do
It's almost
it.
like it's disembodied. Gilmer's like, floats back down. Get in the hole.
All right, thank
Get
you
in
for
the
that
foxhole.
because I rolled a nat 1 for a total of 12 plus 6. So
Can I
18.
just
18.
can I just say, like, this is a metagaming thing, but you guys really needed to have rolled as halflings because you always get to re-roll runs. That's like my
This is the first time this has happened.
That's
Like
true.
up to now, like the dice roller has been quite kind to me.
Wait, you rolled the inspiration as D8?
Yeah.
Sweet.
All right.
Okay, so I got a 17, you got an 18. Therefore, you're still holding on to that spider.
Throw his ass in the
Um,
hole.
However, I need you to make another athletics or acrobatics check with disadvantage because you're already grappling something as the other spider is attempting to grapple you.
22.
That's disadvantage that time?
Yes.
God damn. Well, that beats my 18. So at the last minute, you kind of use your shoulders and arm to pound at the spider. It kind of like falls back away from you, and before it could fall back on its back, both of the spiders phase out, and then the two of you reach the end of the footpath, and just about inside the tunnel, you can see that Gelmirs laid out the hole, and now you can see a 200-foot rope bridge that spans another chasm in front of you as well. No sign of Alexander, but Tyr keeps floating up out of the hole to like encourage you to get in the hole, and then floats back down into the hole, and floats out of the hole, and then floats back down into the hole.
Can I make an attack against the spider?
That you want to make like a crushing attack?
Yeah.
Okay, and I think Wintrude, you can take another shot at its abdomen too, as you guys reach the end of the footpath. It's up to you.
Is that still with advantage because of the grapple or just a normal roll?
It's still with advantage. I'm fine with
I just
that.
want to make sure to roll
Kill
it
it.
correctly. But
I'm treating
Kill
the
it!
creature. Treating the creature as prone.
okay. Jeez, there's some terrible rolls. My God, I rolled a 2 and a 4. Yeah, there's no way anything hits.
Okay, so like you kind of like you go to jab at it, you're not paying attention, you stumble into the portable hole. Rahi, you've got it gripped. You want to use heavy attack and see if you can just.
Yep.
Okay, go for it.
So I just start to I adjust my grip and start squeezing.
Yeah.
So that's 2 attacks.
99 AWR, 99 JKM, JMP. You're killing me, Clay.
Does a 16 hit?
16 hits, yeah.
All right.
Those are Tyr's Madden stats. 99 awareness, 99 juke move, 99 jump with my levitation.
So that's 21 crushing damage.
Yeah, just as you get to the edge of the portable hole, and you're about to jump down into it, you hear a cracking sound as the crystalline spider just goes limp in your arms as you disappear in the portable hole. Gelmir, all 4 of them are down there. You know they've probably got 2 or 3 minutes of air.
All right, so I'll roll it up,
Okay.
and then I want to like sprint across the bridge, but be ready that if I fall, I turn into gas and float across.
Okay.
But I'm gonna try and sprint first, so that I still have my boots active to get as far as I can. As
That's
quick
fair.
as I can.
So as you're sprinting across the bridge, it's rickety, it's old, but it seems to hold together fine. You sprint, you sprint, and you sprint. Nothing happens. You get to the other side of the bridge, and you're in the entrance of another tunnel. And at this part of the tunnel, there's chairs and benches, rock carvings. There's a sign in common that says the Worm Warrens on the sign with an arrow pointed down into the next tunnel. But you made it across the bridge.
I'm gonna roll out the hole near the furniture.
Okay.
And then I'm just gonna start pushing all the furniture in it immediately afterwards.
So like an old rickety chair falls in, and then an old rickety stool. Eventually, like an old rickety bench falls into the hole.
And then I just want to yell in, look out, the furniture is attacking again. We're in a room with the paintings.
I'll grab a chair and just fucking toss it right out.
Yeah, I take a chair and hurl it
bench
at the sound of Gelmirs' voice.
I take a chair and I sit on it, and I'm like, all right, this is.
Deer like takes one of the stools, throws it up, and it lands on the edge.
Then I want to levitate out again. Just,
You come out of the hole.
Like a
I
genie.
jump out of the hole.
I
the hole.
I remain in the hole.
Alexander's just like, no, not doing it. I feel like shit. I'm staying down here. I just know something bad's gonna happen. So you guys are in this like little landed spot on this end of the bridge, right? So these huge like petrified posts are stuck into the ground. The bridge is lashed to it. There's other seating here as well. Even though Gelmir's pushed some of the seating into the portable hole, there's other like rocks that have been carved into seats. You can see like the remnants of multiple campsites have been here previously. And you can just see this very crudely drawn like signage on the stone wall of the of the tunnel that continues forward and slightly down into the darkness. And it just says Worm Warrens on it, which means that you guys have somehow made it through the Undead Warrens, right? And now the next level down is what Alexander has found through his study back at the Moon Town. What's the name of that town again? I should have my notes up.
White
Moon, right?
Moon.
White Moon. Thank you. Sorry, I didn't have my notes up, so I was ad-libbing. So based on White Moon, back before where Alexander gathered up a bunch of lore on the next two levels and the Skullport map, it seems you've made it through the Undead Warrens, and now the next level is the Worm Warrens, which you guys kind of knew was going to be down here somewhere. And this is the section where, based on what Alexander discovered, that these huge, like, organic constructs that were designed purposely to make all these caverns, tunnels, and excavation within the Undermountain, based on what he discovered, they could be down here and running kind of rampant or wandering around down here. It's hard to know for sure, but you're definitely finally gotten further down.
So they're not wandering amok, because that would be frightening.
So, well, before we go down there, I want to cut the bridge loose.
Okay, give me an investigation on the rope bridge as you do that.
Do I have advantage for my favorite terrain?
Yeah, well, definitely.
Natural 20 for a total of 25.
So, examine it. It's a mix of chain and rope. You get the feeling that's why it was stable enough to allow you to sprint across. So it's steadied with rope to make it stiff and somewhat flexible at the same time, but it's lashed to these huge posts in chain and kind of also lashed with tripled over rope. You get the feeling it could definitely be taken care of, but you're looking at probably a good 2-3 hours worth of work to get it done.
Guys, we need to stay here for the day so I can get rid of this bridge.
Why?
Well, the bugs can't follow us if I get rid of this bridge.
If the what can't follow us?
The bugs.
They're not going to follow us here to this point.
They might.
They're not going to walk across the bridge. You see anything walking across the bridge?
Yeah, I just did.
Not you. No. Let's just go. Let's set up a camp. Let's look at Alex's leg. Make sure everybody's okay.
Well,
how long has it been since our last long rest?
I mean, you left the morning. You're guessing it was morning time. I mean, being underground takes a toll on your circadian rhythm. So it's like you're not entirely sure.
Like, how long do we have to wait to do another long rest, I guess?
I mean, it takes about 8 hours to accomplish a long rest.
Right, but don't we have to wait in between? You can't just, like, stack a long rest after a long rest.
I mean, you certainly can. You just expose yourself to danger.
Okay.
Right. Right. Fair enough.
This looks like a decent place to rest, considering that it's been done here so many times.
Yeah, I mean, there's remnants of multiple campsites. You can tell that there's been plenty of foot traffic. No one's hiding the fact that this huge space has been used before descending down into the worm warrens.
It could always be a short rest too. Nothing saying
you could take a short rest if you want to.
Take an hour or two.
Yeah,
doesn't have to be.
Rahi, can you help me remove these posts?
You would have to. With Wintrud in that, I don't think the spiders will follow us here. This seems to be out of their territory, as well as the fact that I wouldn't mind getting more specimens to study.
There's what he's saying in Gelmir. You are a ranger. Why don't you check for tracks, like the sort of tracks that don't match up or trail with each other?
Do I tell you how to read books? Do I do that?
Gelmir.
I will check myself. I will check to make sure and let you know.
So I will check for the tracks to see if they match what I saw with the spiders.
Gelmir, would your magnifying glass be in this hole? That magnifying glass?
It definitely is, yeah.
Okay, so I just move the while I've been down here, I just literally just move shit to weird just rotate things around like the way he had it organized, and I take the magnifying glass and then I hide it and I come out of the hole.
Okay, that's fair. Give me a deception check to see how well you hide it, because Gelmir is very fastidious and suspicious about anybody playing inside his hole and then leaving his hole.
That's fine. I'm very deceptive with this at a 23.
Playing inside his hole.
Okay. What's your passive perception, Gelmir?
16.
I would say you'd be naturally suspicious of Alexander, so you can give me a perception check as he emerges from the hole and is climbing out.
Gelmir, your hole got disturbed. There's a lot of shit shifting.
Well, yeah, I mean, as far as you can tell, he didn't take anything. It's fine.
Yeah, well, I'm glad I got a chair. So that's
it's really disturbed in there.
It's no copper tube, but it'll do.
I know. I do miss my copper tubes. I don't know. What's the point of this whole adventure if you can't have copper tubes? It seems like a miss. Whatever.
Is it okay if I roll a survival check to
see the other tracks? Yeah, go for it.
I'd like to assist.
Okay, with advantage because Tyr's helping you. Ooh. Meanwhile, Rahi, you've got a dead crystalline spider at your feet.
I kind of
go ahead. Sorry, Rahi.
I carefully place it on the ground and start setting up a campfire.
Okay.
So I rolled a 22.
22. All the foot traffic you can see in this area is humanoid, booted. Some traffic that tells you that people have had pets or animals with them as well. And it's a lot of foot traffic, a lot of things coming and going. No sign of any of the spider, no sign of their type of like pseudopod or not pseudopod, but they're arachnid, they're strange footprints that they leave.
No pet spiders.
Yeah,
no pet
spiders. Nothing that tells you that they leave that domain. It feels like There's something about that particular cavern that gives them the ability to do what they do, and they don't leave it. Doesn't look. You don't see any sign that they leave it.
We should go light that cavern on fire.
So,
Yeah.
Tyr, would you agree the tracks are pretty much humanoid? There's nothing like we saw in the previous cavern. There's Gelmir, there's nothing. There's nothing indicating those spiders are here. There are
I'm
no
a ranger.
tracks like I saw.
I know how this works. The spiders cross the bridge. They put on their boots and they mimic human steps. And then
I've heard of
now it's spiders wearing boots. And this is a whole new nightmare.
Well,
I'll say this much, Gelmir. That pretty much convinces you Alexander's probably going to turn into a bug.
Yeah.
Because it makes sense. In your goblin frame of mind, it makes sense.
well,
Rahi might too, for all I know.
may I, if you allow, and I kind of move in closer towards the fire that Rahi's building, I take out my the Underdark Flora and Fauna book that I got back in White Moon. And am I able to thumb through and find like anything about like spiders or spiders?
Yeah, give
move
me
through the plains or
give me a history check. And because you're using your book to do this, you could have advantage on it because you keep a lot of notes about your studies and things.
It's 17.
17. What Rahi is captured and what you've been seeing, they are called phase spiders. They exist in the ethereal plane, and there's usually something that anchors them to a good feeding ground, and it might be all that bioluminescence. So what happens is every time they phase into that cavern, remnants of where they're from phase in with them. And you get the feeling that when that bioluminescence is disturbed, that's how they know people are in the cavern.
so Gelmir, with the support of the book, there's no sort of bioluminescence, anything glowing, and that's what was causing those spiders to have that habitat and to track us and to attack us. None of that is here. So go ahead and take a rest by the fire. Just rest easy now.
Gelmir, can you cook us a meal?
Yeah. But there will be no spider in it.
No, I'm just hungry and I'm cranky, and I just think this is a good place to eat.
You should keep that leg elevated. If you want to put it up on a rock or something over
Wintrude,
here.
I'm fine. I just sprinted. I walked it off. We're good.
Alex,
It's funny.
how do you feel about
Why is nothing?
bio-
I meant it in kindness instead.
I'm cranky. I'm hangry. All right. I need some
Yes.
food.
You're not you and you're hangry.
Yeah, you're not you.
With with this new information, I want to turn to Alex. Alex, how do you feel about bioluminescence?
I mean, if you could add it to the food and the food will taste better, then I'm okay with it.
Wintrude, he likes bioluminescence. We gotta kill him. He's turning into a spider.
He's already turning into a bug.
Your book said it.
No, nothing said about the phase spiders that any sort of nothing. No,
Wintrude, you can't have it both ways. We either follow your book or we don't follow your book.
but I didn't say anything about any bite turning something into something. I never said that.
Because we're figuring it out right now. That's for your new book.
Gelmir, I have a book as well that talks about the next cavern we're going to go down, and it says if we're hungry when we go down there, they're going to eat us. So we have to be full in order to ignore the worm monsters.
Why didn't you tell me sooner? I'm going to immediately start making food.
Yeah, you don't need to make a persuasion check. Gelmir's all in. He's like pulling out stuff, cookery out of his like backpack, and he's reaching into the portable hole and pulling stuff out of there. Rahi, you managed to build a pretty good fire. You guys are setting up a pretty decent camp at this point.
The idea of Wintrude adding insect transformation to her book, her romance novel, brings
kicks it up a notch,
images
right?
into my head that I don't want to think about.
Eight legs, very erotic.
Hey, we saw those driders at White Moon. I mean, they had to have been made somehow, all right?
Yeah, through dark magic.
Thanks for that thought,
I
Gelmir.
just, I've taken a seat and I've taken out the journal that had the A through G journal, and I just keep making notes about Gelmir and goblins. I just keep making notes about like persuasion and how they think and invent things in their head. I just not
Certainly, yes.
So Rahi's studying the spider. Alexander, I'm not really sure what Alexander's doing except stirring the pot. Gelmir's cooking some food. Wintrude, you're making notes. Here, anything you want to do during the short rest?
Can I
Oh, by the way,
study?
we decided on a short rest or a long rest?
I want to do a short. I don't need to redo any of my slots, so I'm okay
Okay.
with the short.
I would prefer to do a long rest, given that there's a magic item I want to attune to.
Well, you can
And-
still attune to it during a short rest.
Oh, you can attune during a
maybe
short
like an
rest.
hour or something,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah, it's
Get
only
out.
like 2 hours, I think.
All right. I'm going to try and attune to the circlet of intellect.
Okay.
Though I think that means you said you can attune to 3 items, right?
Correct. Yep.
In that case, I'm going to have to sever my attunement to the armor.
Okay.
So I'm down to 16 AC.
Okay. Tyr, what are you doing with your time?
Can I study my little goblin spellbook?
Absolutely. Give me an Arcana check as you begin to spend your hour studying the spell book.
If I could check with
16.
you guys. Oh, sorry.
What did you get, Tyr?
16.
16. One of the spells in the Goblin spellbook is something called Dimension Door. And it seems to allow you to select a friendly target or just yourself. And you could dimension displace up to 500 feet in any known or unknown direction. But it's a pretty complex spell. It's one of the bigger spells that he had in his book. But given some time, you might be able to learn it.
I want to spend this time studying my books to see if I can figure out the types of creatures, weaknesses, or resistance that we would possibly incur, or even if I can get
You're
just
going
the
to
type.
focus on the info you have on the worm warrens.
Yeah, the worm warrens, and I'm going to ask Gelmir to hurry and finish up his food.
So
Finish it up, Gelmir.
I was going to
Starving.
ask so I don't mess this up.
Yeah.
I know that on a short rest my spells reset or I get my slots back, but does a short rest allow me to change spells that I
No.
have?
And
That would
there's
need a
even a
long rest.
limit to the number of slots you get back, I think.
Yeah,
Like when you go to click short rest, it should tell you all the details that you get back.
yeah.
But I can't change spells. I can't take
No,
an hour
it
and
takes a
study.
long rest for that.
I just want to make sure so I don't change anything. Thank you.
And actually, technically, I think with a long rest, you're supposed to kind of know the spells.
Correct.
Finish
If they're unknown, then you don't learn them. If you already know them, but they're not readied, then you can ready them for the following day.
Right.
Got it. So I keep everything is just what I got it as.
Correct. So with that, Gelmir, you're prepping food.
Yeah, I
Give
also
me-
want to keep an eye on Alex in case he starts growing either legs or arms.
Makes sense.
So go ahead and give me a sleight of hand check as you're preparing the meal.
Sleight
Give me
hand
a
or
five-star meal,
Sleight of hand?
Gelmir.
Sleight of hand.
That's a 10.
Hey, give me performance.
Can I help him with any of the cooking?
That's up to him.
I don't allow it. It's a 7.
What'd you get?
7.
Yeah, as far as you can tell, it's a great meal. And you start
It-
handing
guys-
out bowlfuls of whatever you just prepared.
It's one of the best stews I've ever made, except for that really good stew. That was the best stew I ever made. So this is less than that.
I start chowing it down, and I'm so hungry that I'm like, it's definitely not as great as his last.
Yeah, it's not
meal.
inspiring. It doesn't help at all. It just fills your stomach. It's not nearly as good as he normally does.
Gelmir, I feel like your chefing skills. We're gonna need to practice some more.
Are you-
right?
Are you saying your taste buds are changing?
No, I mean it's good enough, and so I thank you for that. And I'm actually I apologize. This is a fantastic meal. Thank you so much.
It just
Thank
you like
you,
a
Gavin.
garnish, like a bioluminescent garnish. Is that what you're saying?
It could have used it.
We're not going to go back and get any garnish, though. Don't worry, Gelmir.
Yeah. I want to
like Gelmirs, you're staring at Wintrude as she says that. You realize she's covered in crystalline dust from the phase spiders.
I want to walk over to Tyr and be like, Tyr, we got to keep an eye on Alex. You see how fast he ate that? He's eating for 8. All right.
He's eating for 8.
You gotta check and make sure all the little
Eyes
larvae are.
Do I discover anything from reading the book? Like
give me an investigation roll as you examine the book.
Ooh, 22.
22. So, Rahi, you're attuning to the circlet. Gelmir just made food. Wintrude, what are you doing again with your downtime? Your hour?
So now I've finished my notes on Gelmir. I'm seeing if I can use a bit of my water rations to rub off the dust, just like from my skin or things. Like, does it come off or dust myself off or clean up?
Okay. Are you just dusting it off of you?
If it works, just to see if I need to do something else to get it off.
Yeah, I mean, you're just, you're just dusting it. It's almost on you, almost like just like fragments. Some are
okay.
It's almost like somebody like smashed a bottle above you, and you're just covered in these like thin shards and dust from attacking the spider, and it all just slosh off to the ground. It's
okay, good. Yeah,
not a big deal at this point.
Wintrude, why'd you do that? You look so pretty.
Well, that's very kind, but as far as our stealth and being safe, I thought it prudent
All right.
to remove the dust. But the compliment is well taken. Thank you, sir.
Gelmir, don't you think she looked pretty with the bioluminescent all over her?
It's happening.
So, Tyr, what are you doing with your downtime?
Oh, I was studying the spell
That's right.
book.
You studied the Goblin's spell book, and you were learning more about Dimension Door.
It's
Now,
happening.
in your spells, do you know Dimension Door yet?
I do not.
Okay, so I'll say after studying during this short rest, maybe one more study of it, and you can add it to your known list.
Okay. Is there a way to override like your spell list to add extra spells, or is it just
Known or unknown can be affected by your spell level, but I would just put it in your notes for now.
okay?
That it's known.
Okay.
That way, if you decide to try to practice the spell, we'll just treat it from your notes list as opposed to your primary list. So, Rahi, you turn to the circlet. At the end of your long rest, Rahi, you feel clarity. You feel this sense of improved understanding. You feel that things around you that you weren't quite aware of are now more obvious to you. What's your current stat on your intelligence?
It was an 11, so it's now 12.
So +1 for the circlet of intellect?
Yeah.
Yeah. So you feel a little bit brighter. You feel a little bit more aware. What's really interesting with the circlet is that it feels like it's designed to work with something else, but you're not really sure. Like it's one of a multiple set of items that it might be designed to work with.
I turned to Gelmir. Where did you find the circlet? I don't recall. Was it in what's his name? Theo's tomb.
It was yeah.
He's just spooning food into his mouth. Yeah, that's right. I got it. Yeah.
It was one of them. It was one of the tubes.
I pick up the staff and look at it and just kind of like prod at it, both physically and also like try and like concentrate on it, see if there's any connection that way.
It feels like it's part of the staff, but it feels like something else is missing as well.
Who took Theo's boots?
That was Gelmir, right?
Nope, I've had these boots this whole time.
I think it was me.
Oh yeah, Tyr did. Yeah. I'm not saying that as Wintrude. I'm just saying so on a meta level. I'm just going back through my notes.
Yeah, I got the boots of levitation.
Tyr, may I borrow your boots for a second? I'd like to run an experiment.
Sure. Give him a boot.
But this goes a lot faster when it's not Gelmir.
Yeah, so you now have the staff, the circlet, and the boots. Are you putting all three on?
Don't
yeah.
get possessed.
Magic boots, I assume there won't be any problem with size.
Correct. They'll adjust up to a certain degree. So they adjusted. So you guys watch as Rahi now is wearing the circlet. She puts on the boots. And the moment she puts on the boots after putting on the circlet with holding the staff, you watch as a shadow form of Rahi's form steps out of her form.
What the
And this
fuck?
like mirror image of Rahi is standing alongside Rahi. And you watch as it kind of looks at her and then looks at all of you. And Rahi, you begin to realize the combination of these three items put together has created some kind of extension of your physical awareness. And it feels like you can command this shadow. You can like tell it to do things. You could tell it to, but it doesn't have corporeal form. So it's able to move through things. Like you kind of experiment with it, like kind of floating like over to the bridge. And it seems to accept basic commands. It's almost like an echo of yourself.
Whoa.
I've never really enjoyed my own company, but this...
I'll take it.
I'll take it. Of course, Gelmir. Damn it.
I'll think about that, Gelmir. Do
So
the
you gotta give
boots
me your boot?
require attunement?
Yeah.
No, they don't. Just
Well,
the
they were-
circlet.
Oh,
It's almost
there-
like the magic and intellectual awareness of the circlet combined with whatever the sophisticated magic of the staff. And then the boots just seem to give all three magic items this kind of like adjoinment to each other. And then you just feel this like echo, this like shadowy echo of yourself, both non-corporeal but phased so that you can at least see where it is. And it seems to be willing to take commands and do limited kind of activities. As soon as you like either take off the circlet or put away the staff, it would cause it to go away.
Tyr, I would like to keep these, but of course I would give you something of value in return. I just
Maybe
need
you
to
want
figure
it.
out
Just
what
give me
that would
something.
be.
You give me something later. We'll find something.
Ask for a copper tube.
Like you
don't
hear
worry about
Gelmirs slurping at the stew. Ask for a copper too.
Don't worry about
Sorry.
it. It's more useful together than it is like that. Also, those are boots of levitation, so I'd mark that down.
Excellent.
This is the boots of Dua Lipa.
You have my thanks. I will pay
Well,
this back with interest.
You're too old to be able to quote shit like that, Chris.
I listen to a lot of music, and I got a 10-year-old, and I work with teenagers. I mean, come on.
All right, that's fair. We'll let that one go. So the hour goes by. Alexander, based on your study, and whoever wrote this book during their time down here and examining these warrens, there are two common footpaths that lead from the main tunnel that takes you down into the warrens. The challenge you have is that there's lots of notes and information about how these worm constructs are considered. They don't have traditional intelligence or intellect, so they would be described as either broken or insane or acting in ways that maybe over the amount of time they've been down here, the magic that controlled them has just gradually kind of decayed and they've become these very feral creatures that randomly move throughout the warrens. So while the notes on the warrens give you enough information as to what maybe the footpaths you're supposed to take, it's possible that these worms continue to operate in these warrens, and many tunnels either get destroyed or come in newly into existence. But you know at the very least that where the signage is, it leads you down into where you need to go to. There's at least one footpath there that takes you down into a series of tunnels that are kind of like carved into stairs that'll lead you into a main chamber that's known as the egg chamber, is what the notes are on it. It's called an egg chamber, though there's no specifics as to the kind of like natural occurring creatures in this location. And then it talks about another footpath on the other side of the egg chamber that leads you through a bunch of twisted warrens called the Caves of Chaos, is their reference. And then eventually you'll find Echo Cavern. And once you find Echo Cavern, there's a description of a staircase that's carved into the natural tunnel that leads deep and deep down into this beginning of an underground cove. And once you're there, you're in the main area that'll take you into the direction of Skullport.
All right, guys. I learned that there's two paths. One is treacherous, and the other it has tons of breakfast food. So
we gotta go down that one.
yeah. So just want to let you guys know. I figured it all out, and
I keep forgetting when Alexander's doing this. I gotta put him next to Gelmir because I swear to God, you two are so alike.
I mean, if we have to go down a teaching path and a breakfast path, I want to go down the breakfast path.
Yeah, no, there's one path where there's just tons of worms and everything, and it's really windy, and then it goes into chambers after chambers.
That's the breakfast path.
No, there's another chamber that goes straight to the breakfast path. It's just a straight shot.
A better breakfast than worms?
No, it's like the eggs of the worms.
Oh, I'd rather the worms.
No, but there's gems inside that cavern. I didn't want to say it because I didn't want you to.
In the eggs?
Not in the eggs, but in the cavern that the eggs are held in.
Is it like
I don't have any description in the book what's inside the eggs, but I'm guessing there could also be gems inside those.
Oh, we gotta find out. Let's go. And I start walking down that path.
So with that, everybody click off your hour rest.
All right.
I can just Gelmir just unceremoniously and brusquely just bluntly ends the short breath. All right.
So the hour goes by. We learned more about Rahi. Tyr took some time to learn about a spell. Wintrude. What'd you do during your hour rest?
I just cleaned up and.
Oh, that's right. You were just cleaning up and kind of gearing up to get ready. Gelmir cooked, and Alexander figured out what to do next going into the Worm Warrens. That's where we're going to wrap up today because we got to go over our schedule real quick because we're going to be off a week. I have my son's 1-year-old birthday next Sunday. So needless to say, my morning schedule is going to be a little bit blasted. I will not be able to run a game next Sunday. So that would have been the 15th. So we will not meet again until the 22nd. So is everybody good with the 22nd?
Okay.
I'll be out the 22nd and possibly the 29th.
Oh, good Lord. Back-to-back days?
Yeah, 22nd, I have plans that weekend. The 29th is my dad's birthday, so I'm not sure if I'll be back in time. So that one I'll be playing by ear.
Okay, that's fine. So we'll play the 29th by ear. We'll be down Gelmir on the 22nd, and as long as he's the only one missing, we'll still play with 4.
So I might be gone for the 22nd, but I'm not sure. I'll know later today, though.
Okay, cool. As normal, keep the Discord up to date. Otherwise, we are already taking the 15th off. We're tentatively scheduled to play the 22nd. If we have to take back-to-back days off, that's fine. We'll just plan on playing the 29th if that's the case. Other than that, thanks for hanging out, guys. This was a lot of fun. It was a good session.
Good to be back.
Yeah, I know,
It's
right?
fine.
The holidays are always tricky. And everybody out there that joined us, we had quite a few people join us. We got up to like 13 people hanging out with us, so that was kind of fun.
Nice.
So it was a lot of fun. I hope everybody learned a bit from this. It is a lot of fun playing these games. And if you ever want to learn some more, join our Discord. Head over to the D&D Club. Head over to RPG&Co. He's got a lot of cool stuff for gaming as well. But hey, everyone, thanks for coming out and hanging out with us. You guys linger for a few minutes. And we will stay safe, be kind, play a game. We will see you not next week, but possibly the week after that. So
There you go.
bye, everybody. We'll be back.
All right.
You guys linger for a moment and we could chat.